Kings Highway headed out through Bellevue slow, Timberlake to Topgolf, and then west of Winghaven out to Highway 70. Westbound 70 still has some heavy traffic. The Lindbergh Rock Road area, both directions between the Blanchette and 270 are slow. It's busy from 94 to Cave Springs, Lake St. Louis out through 61. Eastbound 70 still jammed. Warrenton into Wright City most of the way because of an earlier stalled semi. Southbound 55 just a little busy at Highway Z. That's looking a lot better. Westbound 44 still heavy through the bridges. Eastbound 64 still jammed. 111 past 157. Next update at 5:20 from the michaelsflooringoutlet.com traffic center.
The new Haverty's Furniture Showroom is now open in Gravois Bluffs. Come visit us now. With furniture that's built to last, the new Haverty's Furniture Showroom is now open in Fenton and Gravois Bluffs. Experience Haverty's regret-free guarantee for yourself and shop the latest in living rooms, bedrooms, and more. Visit Haverty's now in Gravois Bluffs.
News, traffic, and the latest on the Redbirds. This is the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
Great to be with you guys on a Thursday here on the Redbird Rush Hour. Matt Pauley out with some family stuff. I'm hanging with you here for the hour. Nate Gatter's got you for Sports Open Line from 6 until 8 o'clock tonight. We will not have Redbird Rush Hour tomorrow because of the early Cardinals game, but even better, we have tons of baseball for you tomorrow throughout the afternoon. So we got Bernie, by the way. Bernie's going to join me. The two of us are going to kick things around. We'll be joined by Ricky Horton for part of it and a bunch of others. But we're going to go from 3 until 4:45. So that's when the Cardinals pregame coverage will begin tomorrow because it's a 5:40 start time. So we will go from 3 until about 4:45 tomorrow. Just me and Bernie, Ricky Horton in there. Maybe some other guests in there too. We're not really sure. We're still working on some of that. And before that, the 2 o'clock hour tomorrow, Brendan Schaefer from MLB.com is going to join me. We're going to hang out and talk ball for an hour. So we're blowing up baseball heading into the weekend in Cincinnati tomorrow afternoon during DGS. Because we don't have any rush hour sports. Dave is out, Rach is out, so we're going to make it a big baseball show tomorrow leading into the Cardinals series in Cincinnati. As of today, guys, obviously feel free if you're on the stream, if you're on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, throw in your comments, questions, opinions, whatever you want. I had a whole lot of different angles I want to approach today, but we will absolutely mix in all of those questions and opinions and all of that as we go through the show today. Series lost for the first time in a month. Well, not quite a month, but pretty close to it. The last time they lost a series was the sweep against the Seattle Mariners, and that was late April. We're not fully a month out, but it's 4 weeks since the last time you lost a series. So bound to happen. I think it's pretty clear that the odds dictate you're going to lose series as you go. And, you know, nothing disturbing to me anyway, maybe to you, and feel free to fire that out there if there is something that's disturbing to you. To me right now, we're just looking at normal baseball stuff. You're going to have some parts of your team firing, some parts not firing at any given time. Right now, the offense is pretty quiet, and it's been quiet for a lot of May. Now, you had a good run there where, you had 4 or 5 runs a game for, I don't know, a few games. You had, twice against the A's, you scored 5 or more, twice against the Royals, 4 or more. But the offense has been much quieter since the month of May kicked in. So since May 1st, which is when you faced the Dodgers and took the 2 out of the 3 in that series, you've had multiple games, quite a few games where you've scored 2 runs or less. So 1 against the Dodgers, 1 against Milwaukee there, another 1 against San Diego, but that was a win, so not the end of the world, but it was a 2-1 win. The Padres, again, another 2-run loss. Another two times against the Padres, you scored two runs or less. 1 against the A's, another 1 against the Royals, and now 2 in a row against the Pirates. So you're seeing the offense being a little bit more quiet on a regular basis right now. And there are a lot of reasons for it. I mean, some of them are just, the do factor, right? Some of it's just law of averages. Although this really hasn't impacted, for example, Jordan Walker very much. He had another hit today, 1 for 4 with a run batted in. In the month of May, he's almost 1,000 OPS. Like he and Alec Burleson. Burley has been really good in the month of May as well. Almost an 850 OPS. And if you look at the game today, he played a big role in it, picking up a couple of hits. So, those two guys have really continued to be anchors. Herrera has started to come around. He obviously has 2 home runs in the Pirates series, so his home run total starting to pick up. Prior to today, the OPS for him in the month of May was pretty low. By pretty low, I mean it's above average, but it's not him, right? 729 OPS before today. But with today, he's probably over 800 for the month of May because today he had another couple of hits, including a home run. But really, those are the only 3 guys hitting with much consistency in the month of May. J.J. Weatherholt has struggled, which I think we had to anticipate, right? At some point, a rookie's going to go through a big slump, and that's kind of where he is right now. Maybe getting a little aggressive. In some counts I saw, again, today, just looking at one of his at-bats today, 3-2 count, and overly aggressive against a pitch below the zone on a 3-2 pitch. It's going to happen. Even though that's happening to him, even though he's, striking out, I shouldn't say it's not that much. It's 13 strikeouts. So before today, it was 13 strikeouts in about 70 plate appearances. That's not that big of a deal in modern Major League Baseball, but he had 2 more today. He's just in the middle of a slump where he's not hitting it great. Now, even when he's not hitting it great, he's still drawing the occasional walk, and that's keeping him somewhat productive at the top. But in May, he has slowed down. Nathan Church has been below average in the month of May. Mason Wynn below average. Gorman's actually been pretty good. And he wasn't good today. He was 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts today. But before today was near an 800 OPS for the month. But the problem really, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, Matt Pauley and I talked about this yesterday. The bottom of the order is not doing anything in this month. And look, the bottom of the order isn't supposed to be super productive, right? That's why it's the bottom of the order. But Pages is 4 for 36 this month. He's batting $111. Now, that was before today. He did get a bloop single today and actually had 2 hits today. So, that boosts those numbers a little bit. But still, even if you take that in there, he's 6 for 40 so far in the month of May. Jose Fermin is 3 for 22. Sajaci 2 for 16. Prieto is 0 for 12 in the month of May since he got called up. Pozo's 5 for 10. That's pretty good. 3 of those are in one game, and he doesn't play that much, so it's not like that's going to change much of anything as far as your bottom of the order numbers. So you have a lot of the guys, and Victor Scott, hitting 211 with no slug and no on base so far this month. 8 for 38 before today, and then 0 for 3 today. So, 8 for 41 on the month of May. You have a lot of guys that are just kind of in a rut, and it's hard to score runs consistently when you really only have 3 guys going full speed and another guy that's pretty close to it. And actually, maybe I would say in this month, Herrera and Gorman have both been close to it, and you have 2 guys going full bore in Burleson and Walker. It's hard to score runs that way. I don't think that's going to last, but I think we do have some interesting longer-term questions that we can explore in this hour and obviously in the weeks to come, too. They're going to need more offense at some point. And we're really far away from even considering any kind of upgrade for the offense, the bullpen, the rotation from outside the organization. I mean, you're minimum 2 months from that. This team's not going to be going out in June and making a big deal of any kind. And I wouldn't even anticipate a, quote, big deal. But there's help out there that wouldn't require giving up your best prospects. But we're still 2 months away from that. In the meantime, will there be any kind of movement towards some offensive production? The problem is any of the guys that you could call up from Memphis at this point are either not necessarily showing the signs that they're ready, or their presence could cause other roster issues, right? And you guys know, Matt and I talk about this a lot. Teams, major league teams, including the Cardinals, are very big on resource management. They don't like to lose players early in a season. They don't want to take anyone off the 40-man and just risk losing somebody for nothing. Not so much because they think that player is elite, but because depth matters. And when you're getting away from having depth in the month of May, you're opening yourself up for more problems down the road if injuries pop up. But when you look at it, like Joshua Baez, for example, very popular. I'm excited about his future. He's hitting for power at Memphis, but he's not ready. I mean, he's got 63 strikeouts in 42 games. It's a lot. I mean, if you want to do that math over 162 games, you're talking about close to 200 strikeouts. And he will be in the picture at some point. And he's got 11 home runs. I mean, he's driving the ball. He's showing all that power, and he's got 11 steals. I mean, he's doing a lot of things, but he's not close to being somebody that you would call on for help. Jimmy Crooks is, but, and I'm a big fan. You guys know I was lobbying for him coming out of spring training. Doesn't mean I was right, by the way. It just means that, I thought he had a good enough spring to be a part of the catching mix because he's a left-handed bat. He's got some power. He's got 13 home runs on the season. As Bernie pointed out the other day, and I think he pointed this out with us on Monday, but also wrote about it for STL Sports Central, Jimmy Crooks has made some improvements. His strikeout rate's getting better as the season goes along. So he's striking out less. It's still a lot. It's 48 strikeouts in 35 games. But a lot of that was April. April, the strikeout rate was much higher. It's getting better as you go. But you got 13 home runs right there from a left-handed catcher who is a quality defender. One of the best throwing catchers in the upper levels of the minor leagues. Does a good job blocking the ball. He's got that presence about him. The only thing that we can't know, because we don't see it every day and teams are not going to tell us, or at least not, typically, is whether or not he's calling games the right way, managing the pitching staff. I'm assuming he is, because everything I've ever heard about Jimmy Crooks is that he's a dude. He gets it. He was that guy in college, the leader, the guy that could, rally a staff, and that he's shown some of those things in the minors, but you don't know in the major leagues until you do it in the major leagues. But he's a guy that might be able to help you soon, but then that complicates your roster. First of all, who goes? You could send Pozo down, I guess, right? But then what does that do to your catching mix? Because you don't want Crooks here to catch 1 or 2 games a week. You want him to catch at least 3 or 4 games a week, which is what he's doing there, splitting time with Leo Bernal. Yeah, you could DH him and get him some at-bats, and there are ways to do it, but they add complications. You don't, at this point, there's been no sign the team wants to play Herrera less behind the plate. So to me, unless you're committing to making Pages a full-time backup, which they are not ready to do, clearly, then Pages really, because if you have Pages and Crooks on the roster together, Pages would then probably have to assume the Pozo role, which means the no-play role, which means you're not going to play much. Because if Herrera's going to catch twice every 5 days, which has been the pattern, and it certainly seems to be the long-term plan for the year, adding Crooks to that makes it difficult. You could, however, make the argument that if Crooks comes up and catches 2 games a week and DHs 2 games a week, that you could make use of that left-handed bat. But is that enough for a guy you still want to develop? It's part of the question, right? Is 12, 15 at-bats a week enough to justify that? So I guess this is why I'm saying it. Nothing is a simple fix. You don't really have any infielders that are pushing. I guess the guy that would be a part of that is Blaze Jordan, who's off to a great start at Memphis. He's hitting for average. He does not strike out. That's one of the best things. He's a power bat that doesn't strike out. And he's starting to hit the ball in the air more, so you're starting to see some home runs. But he's a they play him at first and third, but he's kind of a one-position guy. You don't want to put him at third base very much at the moment, especially defensively, and certainly not with Gorman playing well defensively, and Gorman also having a decent month at the plate here in the month of May. You don't want to disrupt that. You could make him the DH on days that Herrera catches. Okay, but that's only a couple times, 2 out of every 5. You could argue that, hey, we can play Burley in the outfield and move Church to center and sit Scott Moore. Yeah, but I don't think they want to mess around with that too much, and I don't think they want to make their outfield defense worse. Nothing against Burley, but he's becoming a better first baseman, and it's probably best for him to kind of stay in that mode. So it's not that there are no choices. It's just that there aren't any really simple, easy fits. Although I would say I might be comfortable with a guy like Blaze Jordan being in a quote-unquote bench role, where you DH a couple times a week. Maybe you play first base once a week. Maybe you find a tough lefty where you give Gorman a day off and you deal with what you get at third base. As Blaze has a really good arm, but he's not much of a mover. So the interesting thing is, when do we start to see some of that come in? And I don't know that there's a really good, easy answer for it right now. Brian Torres is a guy that, sure, that could help your offensive depth on the bench. He can run. He can play outfield and second base. But he's not an elite prospect. He's not changing you. Is he better right now than some of your options? Maybe. But he's also limiting you a little bit defensively, and in the sense that, and I'm not sure the team loves him at second. The guy you'd have to send out would be Sajaci. Maybe that's a move, because Sajaci is struggling to the point where you don't necessarily feel comfortable with him. But at the same time, you don't have many options at shortstop if Mason Wynn needs a day or two because that knee's still barking at him. So I guess the point is the offensive fixes aren't going to be easy. Some of them are just going to have to come from guys on the major league team getting better. We're going to get more into that, about who can get better and how, We start talking pitching, too, because these last couple of days, the starting pitching, while not terrible by any means, was a little bit less than it needed to be. And we got a lot to do in this hour. So feel free. You guys jump in. We've got all kinds of options open, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. If you're streaming with us, you got a chance to throw in your questions and opinions as we go. I got more on the offense coming up next here on KMOX.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we got more trouble, unfortunately, folks, on southbound 270. This traffic reports the service of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. They cleared the crash south of Tesson Ferry, but now we have one in the left lane, south 270, midway between 44 and Gravois. Traffic's jamming from Manchester all the way down to Tesson Ferry. It'll start opening up through Gravois now because of that new crash, and EMS is on the way, so it's going to keep making it a tough run going south. Southbound 141, by the way, if you're thinking of alternate routes, it's jammed. Big Bend down to 44 and Gravois Bluffs all the way down to 21. Southbound 170, Delmar to 64 is backed up. Westbound 64, Kings Highway to McCausland is slow. Approaching Clarkson to Topgolf, then Winghaven out to 70. Eastbound 64, Lindbergh into Big Bend is busy. Westbound 70, still got heavy traffic. Early slow traffic across the Blanchette Bridge out to about Zumbel. Eastbound 70 still jammed from Warrenton in through the Wright City Rest area where that stalled semi. Westbound 370 jammed from the Mills out to Earth City. If you're on the run on the Illinois side, or westbound 44 downtown is still backed up between the bridges, and eastbound 64 still jammed 111 to 157. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis for their 26-point tune-up. It's one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Always look for the genuine, the original red ribbon of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Since we opened our doors in 1868, Busey has fostered deep customer relationships and vibrant communities, embodying a legacy of partnership and progress. With multiple lines of business, we provide a range of financial solutions tailored to your needs. From digital banking to planning for retirement, Busey is here to help you achieve your financial goals. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Meet me at the Muni in Forest Park.
Muni tickets for 2026 are on sale now, featuring Hairspray, Shrek the Musical, South Pacific, Disney's Newsies, Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Times of the Temptations, Meet Me in St. Louis, and Something Rotten. Choose your seats now at muni.org.
Meet me at the Muni in Forest Park.
Lunch was great, but this traffic is awful.
Can we stop at a bathroom?
Are you all right?
I keep having stomach issues after eating, like diarrhea, gas and bloating, abdominal pain, and sometimes oily stools.
Sound familiar? Those stomach issues may actually be a pancreas issue called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. Creon pancrelipase may help manage EPI. Creon is a prescription medicine used to treat people who can't digest food normally because their pancreas doesn't make enough enzymes.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you are allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon. Call 800-633-9110 or visit creoninfo.com to learn more. That's creoninfo.com.
I'm asking my doctor about EPI and if Creon could help.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
Back in on Redbird Rush Hour. Kevin Wheeler with you here. Matt Pauley out today doing some family stuff. We'll all be back in the building tomorrow. Nate Gatter, by the way, has you for Sports Open Line tonight from 6 until 8 o'clock. Tomorrow, we've got some special Cardinals programming throughout the afternoon on DGS. Dave is out and Rach is out tomorrow, and we're just blowing it up on baseball. So Brendan Schaefer from MLB.com is going to sit in with me from 2 to 3. From 3 on, so 3 o'clock till we wrap up, leading into Cardinals pregame. Bernie Miklasz is going to co-host with me. Ricky Horton will be in there, I think, at 3 o'clock tomorrow. Matt Pauley will join us from the ballpark. Oh, actually, no, it won't be from the ballpark because they're on the road. He'll join us in studio around 4 o'clock tomorrow. So we're going to blow out baseball coverage for basically almost 3 hours tomorrow in the afternoon. So if you're going to miss out on Redbird Rush Hour tomorrow, not really. It's just going to be earlier in the day is how we're going to play that. So a lot more coming at you tomorrow on the baseball side from about 2 o'clock until 4:45 here on KMOX. All right, let's get back into some offensive stuff. I got a question from the stream I want to get to. And you guys, again, feel free. to throw something at me. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, just drop in the comments and throw in an opinion, a question, whatever you want. We got Nick, who's one of our regulars. Nick, good to hear from you, buddy. Said, is Burley ever going to hit for enough power to justify playing first base? Well, let me ask you a question, and you can determine if this is enough power or not. His current pace is 285, 23 home runs, and 114 RBIs with 37 doubles. Those feel like pretty good first base offensive numbers. Like, no, he's not going to go he's not a 40 homer guy. That's just not who he is. It's not how he hits. He's a big dude, but that's not him. I'll take that from any position. And again, not trying to be defensive. Nick, you're one of our buddies, so I'm not trying to be a jerk. But I think when you pace it out and you look at, what he's on pace to do, that's pretty good. When you're looking at 60 extra base hits, 100-plus runs batted in, 285 average, 458 slug, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Is it elite power? No. But he also doesn't strike out that much. And I think and thinking it this way, the reason I wanted to bring it up is not so much to bring that answer for Nick, but also to talk about how important judging power is, not based on position, but based on how your roster is compromised, or not comprised, not compromised. Although in past years, some of it was that the roster was compromised, and that's why they didn't have power. So you're getting quite a bit of power from second base, which is not normal, right? So if you were to flip those numbers, if I were to say, okay, J.J. Weatherholt's on pace for 23 home runs and hitting 285, you'd be like, all right, so that's great. Those are great numbers from second base. Well, then you flip it and look at what Weatherholt is on pace to do himself. He's on pace for 30-plus home runs. So if that was the first baseman, that would be a traditional first base power guy. Even though, as I pointed out, Burley's power numbers are fine for that position. There's nothing wrong with it. You're getting elite power and for the position for second base. You're not probably getting as much as you'd like to from third base, but even Gorman is on pace for close to 20, but he needs to be more than he needs to be 25 to 30 in my opinion. So I think you need to see him pick up the power as we go. Walker's numbers provide traditional corner outfield power. And where you don't have the traditional power is center field, but even that's not always a power position. Shortstop is typically not a power position. I do think that there's I guess the point about power is this: it's all about the aggregate. So, Ivan Herrera is a catcher DH, and he's starting to hit the ball in the air, which means he's starting to hit the ball over the fence. I think he's going to finish with 25 home runs-ish. Maybe it's 23, maybe it's 26, but it's probably in that range based on the way that he hits the baseball. And we don't know, though, if this is all going to stay as it is or if it's going to get better or worse. And I think there are paths for it to get better. So as an example, J.J. Weatherholt on the season has done really well. He's a well above average offensive player. His on-base percentage is almost 36%. That's great. That's Brendan Donovan number, but he's on pace for 30 home runs to go with that. It's a good player. And I think he's got better. I think he's got another year. I think he can kick his batting average up another 20, 25 points. I think he can be more in the 265, 270 range, which raises that on base to 370, 380. And I don't think he has to sacrifice power to do it. But young guys are going to go through kind of the ups and downs of a long season. We've seen that with Connor Griffin in Pittsburgh, where he's had some hot streaks and some cold streaks. We saw that a guy that got a lot of comps to Weatherholt early was Kevin McGonigal from Detroit, because they're both rookie shortstops, or middle infielders, really. And McGonigal was amazing for a while, and he slumped a little bit, even though he's a quality hitter. That's going to happen. I'm not worried about him. I think Herrera is going to keep on getting better when it comes to the numbers that we see, even if the batted ball data doesn't get better. So there's plenty of guys that are going to be better. Question is, can Walker hold up? Where else do you get the other stuff? And those are questions we're going to have to answer over the next handful of months. All right, more on the pitching side coming up. It's Redbird Rush Hour. We'll do that after the news here on KMOX.
At 5:30, it's a cloudy sky. Right now, 68 degrees downtown at the Arch. This update is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. A developing story: NASCAR mainstay and two-time Cup Series champion Kyle Busch has died at the age of 41. The sudden announcement comes after Busch pulled out of this weekend's race in Charlotte and was hospitalized for a severe illness earlier this week.
The Candyman comes. Kyle Busch gets it done.
Yeah, they appreciate that talent behind the wheel. He respects them. They respect. The respect gets respect, and that's what that was all about.
That's from Bush's win in the Coca-Cola 600 back in May of 2018. Millions of people are skipping planes and vehicles and hopping on Amtrak for Memorial Day weekend.
Union Station in Washington, D.C. is filled with hurrying passengers dashing for trains, like this man who chose Amtrak over airfare between the district and New York City.
The train is a far more economical choice.
He says the train is also much cheaper than driving.
It's much less than if I was to fill up with 2 tanks of gas and drive down here and then 2 tanks back up.
Another perk?
And at least with the train, I can do some work.
Allison Keyes, CBS News, Washington.
AAA says many are picking shorter getaways, closer destinations, and lower cost activities like hiking. One of the biggest issues with redeveloping St. Louis's riverfront is deferred maintenance. That's according to Ryan McClure of the Gateway Arch Park Foundation, who says project costs along the riverfront are so high because of crumbling infrastructure.
These are issues that have been around for years that need to be taken care of first. And that's frankly about $1 to $2 million.
McClure says that number is a good chunk of the $15 million the organization is asking for from the Rams settlement. The ask comes as the final phase of demolitions at the Millennium Hotel begins, and officials start to plan redevelopments of the space. Move over Super Bowl. The World Cup is about to become the king of sports betting.
Argentina, champions of the world!
Bookies.com predicts Americans will wager $3.1 billion on World Cup games through sports betting websites and apps. Another $2.4 billion will be wagered on prediction markets like Kalshi and Polymarket. That will be a big jump from the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, when Americans legally bet $1.8 billion on the tournament. A recent PwC survey found 58% of Americans plan to bet on this World Cup. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
When it first came up, it was such an honor to know that a team here would be promoting the film and sharing it with their audience. So we were fired up right away.
That's motivational speaker and childhood fire victim John O'Leary. His story was told in the movie Soul on Fire, which was filmed in St. Louis in 2023, released worldwide in theaters last year, and is now available to stream.
In the opening week, it was downloaded, I think, 4 million times. So like our little city, St. Louis, is shining in this film, and it celebrates baseball, as you know. It celebrates KMOX, as you know. And it celebrates the fact that good ultimately overcomes evil.
Soul on Fire will be shown on the video screen following the Gateway Grizzlies game Saturday night in Sauget. More details at gatewaygrizzlies.com. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk for tonight, more clouds, low 57 degrees. Could have some periods of showers and a few storms tomorrow. Dave Murray says they will not be strong or severe. Also, the rain is not going to be all day. High tomorrow of 70. Showers fade tomorrow night, 59. For Saturday, Sunday, and Memorial Day Monday, we've got a partly sunny sky, some spot thunderstorms, but a fair share of dry time each day. High temperature of 80 all 3 days. Right now, 68 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
It's that time of the week where we put a spotlight on someone making the community better through sports. It's building community with Busey Bank beyond the game. This week, we focus on a former TV anchor who now helps kids develop life skills through an after-school weightlifting program. Rennie Knott spent many years on your TV working as a sports and then a news anchor. Since leaving Channel 5, he has worked as the executive director of Lift for Life Gym in North St. Louis, a gym with a long history of giving kids a place to go after school.
Pretty much an after-school program, a gym in North St. Louis City. Been around since 1988, originally founded by Marshall Cohen, who wanted to have a place for kids to go that was a safe space where they could basically work out.
While the program focuses on getting kids into the weight room, there's a lot more to Lift for Life.
Now our focus is on powerlifting. In reality, we go well beyond just that. We also provide food for kids every day. We have a hot cooked meal by our cook. We also have transportation. We bring the kids to and from. We also play basketball. We have mentoring. We have kickball. We have foursquare. You name it, you got it. There's a lot going on over here at Lift for Life Gym.
Kids might come out physically stronger, but the real purpose of the gym is to help cultivate skills and traits that will be helpful as the participants grow up.
We're looking to empower the kids. We want them to leave here better than what they were when they came in. We want to make sure that their minds, body, and souls are enriched so that as they progress through life, they've got skills that they have learned, probably without knowing that they were learning these skills from the gym, that help them become successful in life.
More details about the gym, including how you can support it, are available at liftforlifegym.org. Building community with Busey Bank beyond the game.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined, and the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-720-8444. 314-720-8444. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-720-8444.
Hi, this is Congresswoman Ann Wagner from Missouri's 2nd District. I work every day to put more money in your pocket, secure the border, protect our shared Missouri values, and keep our communities safe. Whether it's visiting one of my public events in neighborhoods around the district or by contacting my office, I want to hear from you. If you need help with a federal agency, please contact me at wagner.house.gov.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
The smartest way to do your homework is Hackman Lumber.
Thinking about building a new deck? Start with the trained professionals at Hackman Lumber, home to one of the largest inventories of decking materials and accessories in Missouri. From treated lumber and cedar to all the leading names in decking, their team will help you choose the perfect materials for your dream deck. Then finish it off with endless railing options, balusters, and LED deck lighting to bring your backyard to life. Hackman Lumber will not be undersold on in-stock decking materials, guaranteed. Do it yourself? Their team is ready to help. Need help from a pro? They can connect you with trusted local contractors. Also, check out their expanded paint department with custom color matching. And don't forget, follow Hackman Lumber on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok to catch weekly deals, specials, and project inspiration all season long. Or visit us at hackmanstl.com. Locations in St. Peters, Troy, and Pacific, Missouri.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Americans demanded border security, and House Republicans delivered. According to the Department of Homeland Security, for 10 consecutive months, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported 0 illegal aliens released at the border. I'm proud to have worked with the Trump administration to secure our southern border and uphold our immigration laws, and will keep fighting to advance strong policies that protect Missourians and keep America safe.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Road trip through America's musical past as the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra teams up with the sensational doo-wop project for a night of vintage soul and seamless harmonies. Experience the iconic sounds that shaped American music through the evolution of doo-wop, including favorites like Sherry and Walk Like a Man, along with doo-wopified renditions of modern hits and more. Buckle up for a feel-good celebration that brings generations together, featuring the doo-wop project and your St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. Saturday, May 30th at Powell Hall. Tickets on sale now at slso.org.
As parents, we measure our child's life in firsts. First steps, first words. But for me, the most important was my son's first breath. Because of Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, that moment led to so many more. His first laugh, first birthday, the first time he said, "I love you, Mama." Make your pledge for patients today at homersforhealth.org to benefit the devoted fund. Your gift helps build a place where more childhood firsts are possible.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been diagnosed with mesothelioma, call us now. $30 billion was set aside for meso victims, and in most cases, your claim is settled out of court without a jury trial. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX. Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we still got troubles going south. In fact, more troubles, unfortunately. This traffic reports a service of the United Way of Greater St. Louis, helpingpeople.org. Have this new crash, South 270, south of 44, midway between there and Gravelly. Left lanes are blocked. It's a solid jam back to almost Manchester. A new crash, southbound 170, just before Ladue. Left lane's blocked there. Traffic's jammed just south of Olive. As an alternate route, by the way, to 270, a lot of folks have been taking 141. It's jammed north of Big Bend all the way down to 44, and it backs up from like south of San Simeon most of the way down to Tesson Ferry, so that's it's not really much of an alternate route. They're not going to save much time going that way. Westbound 64, Science Center headed out through Big Bend's Heavy, Clarkson to Topgolf, Winghaven out to Highway 70, westbound 70, 94 to Zumbell and A to Z. Eastbound 70 still has this jam. In fact, there are delays from Warrenton mostly afternoon in through the Wright City Rest area to Wright City, and westbound going from Warrenton out to the roundabout is heavy. Westbound 370 approaching 141 to the Discovery Bridge is slow. If you're running on downtown, westbound 44 slow between the bridges, and eastbound 64 jam 111 to 157. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
When our neighbors need support, United Way brings people together, helping families, helping children, helping people through everyday challenges, and building hope for tomorrow. Unite with us at helpingpeople.org.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
All right, it's Thursday on Redbird Rush Hour. We got Sports Up Online at the top of the hour, 6 o'clock. That'll be Nate Gatter filling in for Matt Pauley. Matt's got some family stuff today. He'll be back tomorrow. And, in fact, tomorrow he'll be joining me and Bernie Miklas and Ricky Horton and Brendan Schaefer. We're going to be blowing out baseball coverage tomorrow for almost 3 hours. So from 2 o'clock until we get to pregame about 4:45, we'll be talking baseball here on KMOX. For tonight, we'll obviously go baseball and sports all the way up till 8 o'clock, and I'm going to finish up some more baseball. I want to get to the pitching in a second. I do want to hit one more offense-related topic that comes to us from the stream, and that's from Larry. Again, Larry, I'm not trying to pick on you, buddy. I'm just answering your question. You threw it out there. It said, sadly, this offense reminds me of the 24 and 25 teams. It doesn't remind me of that at all. They finished second to last in all of baseball in home runs last year. They're 12th in baseball right now. Like they're not similar in very many. Now, if you're just looking at if your reference is just these last couple of weeks, this last 3 or 4 games, all right. I mean, I get what you mean there, but bigger picture, no, that's not really at all what this looks like. Last year was a severely power challenged offensive team. So last year the Cardinals finished 29th in home runs, and they had 148 home runs for the entire season. And when you look at them now, they're 12th, as I mentioned, which is a pretty big jump. And with 55 home runs in 48 games, you're on pace to blow past last year by a lot. So it's not really the same team. I mean, some of the same guys, but some of those guys are better. Like Jordan Walker is significantly better. I will say, though, if you're just referring to these last couple of days, okay, yes, these last couple of days have looked a little bit more like the last couple of years. They've been quiet. And, yeah, they're going to need more from the bottom of the order, as I started the show with. I mean, 6, 7, 8, 9 haven't done much in the month of May, and overall really haven't done much either. And I don't know where the solutions are to that. I'd say that eventually the solutions are going to be able to maybe come up from AAA Memphis later in the year if you're still in contention, which at this point sure looks like you will be. Nothing's guaranteed there, but you're off to the kind of start that even if you play pretty poorly for the next 2 months, you may still be in the wild card race. So, yeah, definitely, the offense is going to need to be better. And by better, I mean deeper. Because, yeah, you can be carried by your top 4 guys, but to avoid stretches where you don't score at all, you need to get a little bit more balanced production. And hopefully that'll happen from within. And I mean, from within, hopefully that'll be guys on the team now getting better. But I'm not going to hold my breath on Pies. I'm not going to hold my breath on Mason Wynn. And this is not a knock on Wynn, but we've got a lot of major league time for him now. I think we kind of know what he is as a hitter, even though he's young and still has some upside. I mean, his OPS this year is the exact same as his career OPS, and that's in almost 1,400 at-bats. He's only 24, so there is room for improvement. But I think the way I would look at this is he's basically a league average bat and an elite defender, which is a really good combination. But you're going to need some of those other guys to do more, whether it's Victor Scott or eventually Lars. And I think you're going to get that boost from Lars Nootbaar. He's still got a few weeks to go, though, because he just moved his rehab to Memphis. And I think he's back in the lineup today, right? He had yesterday off. I think he's back in the lineup tonight. But he's going to need the full build-up because he didn't have spring training or anything like that. So it's going to take a while. So hopefully a healthy Newt can be that boost to the lineup, especially with a lefty bat that could maybe slot in the 5 spot. Probably not right away, but maybe he slots in the 5, which slots Gorman down a little bit, which makes Gorman's production that much more valuable. You know, when you're hitting 6th or 7th and you're league average-ish, that's fine. When you're hitting 5th, you probably want more than that. So we'll see. It's not easy, and it's not like there is an automatic easy answer. But, yeah, Lars will be back. He will be back, and he will play when he's back. The only thing we can't really quantify is how good he's going to be. But, you know, if you're looking at the pitching side of things, I wanted to hit a couple things. I don't have time for everything, but I do want to get to Matt Swanson, who was pretty solid today. 19 pitches, 13 strikes, gave up 1 hit in an inning and a third, struck out 1, didn't walk anybody, which is a really big deal. But he had the big blow up yesterday. I mean, that was a competitive game yesterday until Swanson came into the game. And I was texting with Matt Pauley after the games because Matt and I have talked a lot about Matt Swanson, and it's because we both think highly of him. I think very highly of Matt Swanson. But I can look at what the results say and truly say without any hesitation, he needs to go down. I don't want it to be that way, but when I look up and I'm in, late May and I'm seeing a 9+ earned run average, and I'm seeing one of the worst walk rates in baseball, and I'm seeing a lot of hard contact. He's in the bottom 3% in hard hit rate and average exit velocity against. So when you're giving up a lot of hard contact and your walk rate is 12%, and it's 2 months in, yeah, I'm officially worried. And I think it may be time for a tune-up, but it also requires somebody down there throwing well enough to come in and think that they're going to be a better option. But at some point, you can't just keep running a guy out there with a 9 ERA. As much as you love the guy, and I do, I think the guy's got a long future. He's a good player, good arm, seems like a stable guy, but he's not right now, and I think you got to get him fixed at some point. All right, stick around. We got a little more pitching to come up on the other side. Before that, I want to talk to you a bit about real estate. Now, I don't want to talk real estate because I would tell you nothing of importance. The only thing I know about real estate is that I have sold several homes and I have purchased several homes, and I really wish that I had Gloria Liu with me for all of that. Of course, I'm talking about St. Louis real estate expert Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. So if you're thinking about selling, just remember these words. Call Gloria Liu. She has been doing this for more than 20 years. She sells homes faster and for more money than the average agent. She's got a database of thousands of buyers in waiting. And look, your house might have the ideal buyer in that database, but you are not going to know it if you don't work with Gloria Liu. She has time-tested systems in place that she uses. She's walked me through them. They're completely sensible, and their record speaks for itself. You see the results. Like, you're going to see the result. She can show you for years and years how this has worked. And all you need to do is make the call. I mean, it's simple. And you're not going to get these kinds of upfront written guarantees anywhere else either. Gloria will sell your home at a price and time frame acceptable to you, or she will buy it from you. And the other option would be that she'll sell your home at 100% of market value or pay you the difference. You're not going to combine those written guarantees with the database, the experience, and the proven results. You're not going to beat that anywhere else. You're just not. Call Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. As always, seller and Gloria must agree on price and possession date.
Whoopah! The most mouth-watering event of the year is back. Join us this Memorial Day weekend for the St. Louis County Greek Fest at Assumption Greek Orthodox Church. Enjoy authentic Greek food, lively music, dancing, and church tours. Credit cards only. Visit STLGreekFest.com for full details.
Kick off summer this Memorial Day with Artistic Decks. We're celebrating with American-style value and rolling back prices on every precision-built deck. Get the backyard you've always wanted. Call 314-280-0821. Artistic Decks, making dreams affordable.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it with a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we still got issues heading south. They're still working this crash on southbound 270 between 44 and Gravois. The left lanes are blocked. It's a solid jam through Doherty Ferry. Southbound 170, only the right lane is open. They're blocking the two left lanes here as well. This crash just before Ladue, it's a solid jam back through Olive, and there's a northbound slowdown north of 64 up into that area, by the way. Southbound 141, folks have been taking that this afternoon because of all the troubles we've had on 270. Southbound 141 is jammed south of Carmen all the way down to 44, and it's jammed from Gravois Bluffs almost all the way down to 21, so that's a real unfortunate as an alternate route. It's really no better. Eastbound 70, you're still stop and go from 47 Warrenton most of the way into Wright City because of earlier troubles. Westbound 64 coming from the Science Center headed through McCausland, still kind of slow, a little busy west of Clarkson and west of Winghaven out to 70. Westbound Highway 70 at West Florissant, looks like there's an incident in the city. Eastbound 64 still jammed. 111 most of the way to 157. Next update at 5:59 from the michaelsflooringoutlet.com traffic center.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
All right, get ready to wrap up Redbird Rush Hour. Matt Pauley is out tonight. You got Nate Gatter coming in, taking over from 6 until 8 o'clock on Sports Open Line. I was going to do some pitching stuff here. I don't think I have time for it, so I'm going to get a couple more things in from the stream, and we'll talk pitching tomorrow. And a reminder, tomorrow, if you're looking for baseball coverage, we have you covered from 2 o'clock until the start of Cardinals pregame. So really, what I'm saying is we have Cardinals baseball talk and or game from 2 p.m. until whenever postgame ends tomorrow night. So, yeah, starting at 2 o'clock. So, Brendan Schaefer from MLB.com is going to join me, and we're going to hang out and talk ball for an hour. He'll be in studio with us, and then we'll have Bernie Miklas for almost 2 hours co-hosting. So, the two of us will have Ricky Horton. Matt Pauley will join us in the middle of all of that, too. So, big baseball blowout here on KMOX tomorrow afternoon. Real quick on the stream so I can get to these things because I don't have time for the pitching thing that I wanted to get to. Richard says, I would rather have Church in center than Scott. Baez in left, Blaze Jordan instead of Prieto, Crooks instead of Pajes. Just saying. I understand exactly where you're coming from. The problem is balance, right? Baez is an exciting player and a very talented one. He's not showing at Memphis right now that he's ready for major league pitching. When you're striking out at the rate that he is at AAA, that's only going to go up when you get to the majors. Let him cook a little bit. I get what you're saying. I totally understand. I love Baez as a prospect. He's going to be a fascinating guy to watch in the next year or two, maybe even later this year. But right now is not the time, especially with Newt coming back. I think that's the thing. When you know that Newt Bar's coming back, barring a massive setback, but you know he's coming back in just a few weeks, that's not the time to bring up a young guy because once Baez is here, they're going to want him to stay. They're going to want him to play every day, and they're going to want him to stay. Well, that opportunity is not going to be there. When Newt Bar's back, at least not immediately. And we'll see what happens as the season goes along. But I do get where you're coming from. I'd love to see Crooks here. I'm a fan. I think he would figure it out. But they're not going to park Pajes in AAA. Not going to do it. And they're not going to put him in the Pozo role where he never plays because they love his defense too much. They are going to have to make a call on all of this stuff at some point. They're going to have to make a call on who stays in this group because I don't think you can keep Crooks, Pajes, and Herrera and think that they can all catch. Going to be tough. So we'll talk more about those things as we go through the rest of the next month or so and see where things are going to change. But I'll tell you what you got coming up next is Sports Open Line. Nate Gatter's got you covered from 6 till 8 here on KMOX.
Right now, inflation is squeezing budgets, and global events can shake up the markets overnight. If you're close to retirement, you don't get unlimited do-overs, so this is not the time to just hope it works out. That's why Steve Auld and the team at the All Financial Group are hosting an upcoming educational seminar called Retirement Simplified, June 16th at the All Financial Group office. You'll learn how rising costs could drain your spending power, how political and economic headlines may impact your returns, and whether your retirement strategy is truly stress-tested for today's economy. This event is complimentary, and you must reserve your seat today. 636-230-8824. You can also get more details online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, or Registered Investment Advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions. The All Financial Group is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the U.S. government or any other government agency.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I was just at Staples. They're having a huge 40th anniversary sale.
40 years. Note to self, send flowers.
Up to 50% off. Save on chairs, paper, balloons, and more.
Balloons?
Yeah, Party City is now at Staples.
Surprise!
But the anniversary sale is only 2 weeks, so...
Quick, celebrate 40 years of savings at Staples with up to 50% off. Shop chairs, paper, break room supplies, and more. 2 weeks only. It's 523.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in-store, online, or on the app.
If you're struggling to hear conversations, TV, or the people you love, now there's an easier, more affordable solution without spending thousands. Audion Hearing makes high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98 with free shipping and dedicated one-on-one support in the comfort of your own home. No doctor's offices, no pressure. Clearer hearing delivered right to your door. Join over 1 million happy customers hearing life more clearly. Visit audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Spring cleaning isn't just for your house, it's for your life. If your job is getting old, it's time to clear the clutter and spring into IT. Go to My Computer Career.
My Computer Career helped me get the skills and certifications I needed to start a new life as an IT professional in months, not years.
Earn the certifications the top employers are looking for right now. Visit mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation to see if it's time to spring into IT. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
The final home game of the season is here, St. Louis. Your St. Louis Battlehawks hit the field Friday, May 29th at 7 p.m. against the Dallas Renegades at the Dome at America Center. It's Battlehawk Kids Day, packed with family fun, Battlehawks energy, and an Archie bobblehead giveaway while supplies last. Join Battlehawks Nation. Bring the whole crew and help close out the season the only way St. Louis knows how. Loud and proud. Caw-caw. Because caw is the law. Get tickets starting at just $18 at UFLBattlehawks.com or Ticketmaster.
Cards and Cubs. The rivalry returns to Busch Stadium May 29th, and we are kicking off the weekend early. I'm Tom Ackerman. Join me for a Redbird Roundtable featuring Ozzie Smith, Al Raboski, and Matt Adams. Thursday, May 28th at the Beer Garden at Anheuser-Busch Brewery. We're talking ball, enjoying a cold beer, and celebrating one of baseball's best rivalries. The doors open at 4:30. The Redbird Roundtable, Thursday, May 28th, a free event. Must be 21 or older to attend. Full details at KMOX.com.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, good news for South 270 drivers. They cleared that crash between 44 and Gravois. Lanes are open. Traffic still a solid jam from Doherty Ferry most of the way down to 44. It's open up before you approach 44. Southbound 170, we still have this injury crash just before Ladue. Only the right lane's open. Traffic on South 170 still a solid jam at Olive. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, you still have that jam from Warrenton most of the way into Wright City because of earlier problems. Westbound 64 is heavy. 364 out to 70. 70 westbound A to Z in the Wentzville area is still slow. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
For original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper, a loss for NASCAR drivers, fans, and those who knew Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch is going to win his second Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series championship.
Kyle Busch has died at age 41 after being hospitalized with a severe illness. This comes just 3 days before he was to compete at the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Busch is survived by his wife Samantha and 2 children. Memorial Day weekend is hitting travelers with sticker shock, and many are trying other ways to get where they're going. CBS's Allison Keyes.
People are packed in at Union Station in Washington, D.C., and this traveler headed to New York City says he is not driving.
I take train primarily. It's a way to get around Manhattan, but even down here, I try to take the metro.
This woman says,
cars out unless we absolutely need.
That's because
We just filled up the tank, and it was over $70.
it used to cost around $50. Allison Keyes, CBS News, Washington.
As an Ebola outbreak spreads in the Democratic Republic of Congo, an angry mob torched a treatment center in that country, fearing the disease. CBS News medical correspondent Dr. Celine Gounder on challenges in containing Ebola in Africa.
On top of that, you have Rwandan-backed militia groups, M23, which have been trying to essentially control the minerals, the mining. And the combination of the presence of that armed militia on top of USAID, so Americans having pulled out from the region, has led to the collapse of health systems.
Nearly 140 deaths have been reported, and there are more than 600 suspected cases. Tonight is Stephen Colbert's final Late Show on CBS.
Jared Moats flew in from Texas.
He's a great comedian, and we will miss him dearly.
New Yorker Sherry Turner was also in the audience for Colbert's first show on CBS. What are you going to miss about Stephen Colbert?
His voice, his honesty, his logic.
An end for The Late Show and a major change for television. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Less than a month away, the World Cup tournament in the U.S. will be a major security operation carried out by the federal and local governments. New York City Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch.
As we prepare for the World Cup and Sail 250, New York City will be at the center of one of the largest global sporting events and national celebrations in history, with enormous crowds, high-profile venues, international attention, and a security environment that requires preparation for every credible threat.
Tisch says one of her top concerns is the ability to intercept drones. This is CBS News.
Every Sunday, moderator Margaret Brennan goes face-to-face with top leaders to make you better informed. Face the Nation, Sunday on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
At 6:03, it's a cloudy sky. Right now, 68 degrees downtown at the Arch. Waymo says it is still planning to bring autonomous taxi service to St. Louis, despite the state legislature adjourning without establishing regulations. In a statement to KMOX, Waymo's spokesperson says they are exploring every available avenue to, quote, invest millions of dollars in the jobs and infrastructure required to support operations. He adds they are disappointed in the legislative session, but still want to bring their ride-hailing service to Missouri. Waymo first announced it was coming to us in December. Their vehicles with drivers behind the wheel were first spotted in January. The city is proposing another hike to water rates.
The worst thing that could happen is us to fail to have a sustainable water department and the department go belly up.
Mayor Kara Spencer saying that worst case scenario would happen this year if action isn't taken. While there will be hikes, Water Director Niraj Patel says the bill raising rates also introduces new permanent affordability rates.
It's designed to have criteria such as income, such as age, and then, impacts from natural disasters. And so that will come, out of our budget.
Rates would increase from 18% hikes both this year and next, 6% hikes in 2028, 29, and 30, and a 5% hike in 2031 and 2032. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The proposed bus rapid transit line downtown could intersect with the Civic Center Transit Station.
City Transportation Planning Executive Scott Ogilvie says one of the key differences between the old light rail plan and the new bus rapid transit system, or BRT, is a connection downtown.
We want BRT to integrate with Metrolink at the Civic Center Station downtown. This is a great place for transfers. You've got over a dozen connecting bus routes at Civic Center Station. You also have Amtrak and Greyhound at that location, and it's right downtown, so you're right by a lot of municipal services.
Some of the other major differences include features to speed the service up, including separate lanes for the BRT and the buses being prioritized at stoplights. Ogilvy says other features like level boarding and fare collections off the bus will ensure the boarding process moves faster to keep the buses on time. Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
Tempers flared on Capitol Hill today during a contentious hearing over funding levels at the Department of Veterans Affairs. Debate over the federal community care program turned personal as Veterans Affairs Secretary Doug Collins and Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth locked over whether the administration is following congressional mandates.
Veterans and stop enriching private companies.
Do you not want me to follow the Mission Act? Yes or no?
I want you
yes or no?
to take care of our veterans. And that means you need to increase the number of direct care, not cut funding for direct care.
The exchange highlights a partisan divide over whether taxpayer dollars are better spent expanding private health care options for veterans or upgrading infrastructure at traditional VA hospitals. Let's get you to Roger Brand and check on traffic right now. Roger, what are you seeing?
Well, we still got some troubles out there to wrap it up this evening, or at least delays, Michael. This traffic reports a service of Financial and Tax Strategies. If you're traveling on southbound 170, good news, they just pulled away like literally 30 seconds ago. The crash before Ladue, so all lanes are open. South 170, though, is still jammed for now from Olive down to Ladue. Southbound 270 is just slow, 44 to Gravois. They cleared that crash before the top of the hour. Westbound 78 O'Fallon Park's a little busy after that. A to Z out in Wentzville slow. We still have bumper-to-bumper traffic. Eastbound 70, east of 47, most of the way into Wright City. We had a stalled semi that was out there for quite a while today. Westbound 64 still slow from 364 out to Highway 70. And on the Illinois side, eastbound 64 still jammed 111 most of the way to 157. Want to talk about a USPS Ground Advantage reliable route, and I'll actually tell you that South 270 is the reliable route now because we had troubles all afternoon on 270, but now, like I said, just a little slow 44 to Gravois, but southbound 141, you're jammed. Helfrich down into Valley Park, and you're jammed south of Gravois Bluffs most of the way down to 21, so 270 is better than 141. I'm Roger Brand in the Michael's Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
If your retirement plan is mostly what if and a little fingers crossed, you deserve better answers than that. Check out Wealth and Wisdom Saturdays at 7 a.m. here on KMOX. I'm Gary Goldberg. Call 800-966-1690.
Our evening is rain-free, but there'll be plenty of clouds building back in fairly quickly, and 57 will do it for the low. On Friday, mostly cloudy skies. Still looking for some scattered showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, but nothing strong, nothing severe. And right now, I'm kind of liking the focus during the afternoon hours. Nothing even close to all-day range, but it's cool, 70 degrees for the high, so a lot of the day in the 60s. Friday night, a couple of scattered showers around, especially during the evening, 59. Holiday weekend, Saturday, partly sunny, spotty thunderstorms, 80 degrees. A couple of thunderstorms around Saturday night. Sunday, some scattered showers and thunderstorms, 80 degrees. And Monday, Memorial Day, partly sunny with some spot storms at 82. I want to stress, over the holiday weekend, yes, the skies will be unsettled from time to time, but I think we have lots of rain-free time. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
And at the moment, it's a cloudy sky, 68 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Come on, let's get going now.
From KMOX Sports.
We're primed and ready. All day, baby. Man, let's go.
This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Live. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. On 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Nate Gatter with you in for Matt Pauley on this Thursday evening. A little Gray Bar Sports Open Line getting underway. We're going to be talking about the Cardinals, who lost their second game in a row today, and as a result lost the series to the Pittsburgh Pirates 2-1. We'll be talking about St. Louis City SC, who I think haven't gotten quite as much attention this week as they deserve for winning an Open Cup quarterfinal at Energizer Park on Tuesday night over Houston to move into the semifinals of the Open Cup for the first time in club history, but of course far from the first time in St. Louis history. The city itself, not city in all capital letters as in the club, but the city as in the gateway to the West, has enjoyed a whole lot of success in the Open Cup going back generations. And so a lot of reasons for excitement in my book, not only chasing potentially the first trophy in club history, but doing it in a tournament that has a whole lot of history here in St. Louis. We'll also discuss the St. Louis Billikens. We're in the midst of the basketball offseason, of course, but one of the major storylines around all of college basketball, but especially the mid-major levels, especially high-end mid-major programs like the Billikens, has been and will remain scheduling and how those teams get good games on their schedule. And the Billikens certainly suffered from that to a degree last year because their non-conference schedule was so weak that it did very little for them when it came to getting an at-large berth in the first place and then getting a quality seed. Obviously, they sputtered down the stretch in the Atlantic 10, and that's what knocked them down to the 8-9 game where they ultimately beat Georgia and then lost in the second round to the eventual national champion Michigan Wolverines and Josh Schertz's good friend Dusty May, the head coach in Ann Arbor. But the reason that the margins were as narrow as they were, as slim as they were for the Billikens, is because they didn't have good non-conference wins to hang their hat on. Now, I think the Santa Clara win looked pretty good at the time and has continued to look better as the season went on, and then ultimately the Broncos got within a fortunate Oweh bank shot from beating Kentucky in the first round of the tournament here in St. Louis. So they weren't devoid of playing any quality teams, but certainly they were devoid of big-name programs and even of the number of quality games they would want to have, especially here at home. And that's something, now that the Billikens are starving for attendance by any stretch. By the end of last year, the crowds were great, and we're going to talk about crowds as well in relation to the City game on Tuesday night over at Energizer Park. But as the Billikens try to drive that success into increased season ticket sales and increased attendance and consistent sellouts next year, obviously having quality opponents come to Chaffetz is also part of that conversation, or at least come to St. Louis, which Mizzou will be doing to play the Billikens reportedly over at Enterprise Center in December. Not quite as good for season ticket holders, at least, as having it at Chaffetz Arena. But SLU is putting together a very, very compelling schedule based on the reports. We'll talk to Stu Durando, who covers the Billikens for his Substack, Stu on SLU. We'll visit with him during the second hour. Speaking of City, we will chat with Dale Schilly, who you hear over on our sister station, Y98, as the color analyst for all City games alongside Joey Zanaboni. Also frequently hear him as a guest on our City Spotlight and City content on KMOX and across the Odyssey family. And Dale Schilly will be with us starting off that second hour as well. We'll also have Bernie Miklas joining us here in just about 8 minutes in our second segment to talk mostly Cardinals, maybe a little bit about those Billikens as well. The Cardinals, as mentioned, a 6-2 defeat today to the Pirates. That's back-to-back losses. A rather disappointing Wednesday effort as well from the Redbirds. And after winning the series opener on Tuesday, back-to-back losses of 7-0 and 6-2 on Wednesday and Thursday. Now a 6-game road trip for the Cards, going to Cincinnati and then to Milwaukee before they return home next weekend to face the Chicago Cubs at Busch. So for those of you who have been paying attention, they are 3 games into now a dozen in a row against what has been a very, very good National League Central so far this year. In fact, with the Pirates winning these last couple of games over the Cardinals, the entire division is now back to being up multiple games above 500. The Pirates at 26-24 through 50 games, and nonetheless find themselves at the bottom, tied with Cincinnati for 4th place in the National League Central. The Cardinals have slipped from a half game back in Milwaukee now to 2 games back in Milwaukee in 3rd place. The Cubs are a game and a half behind the Brewers in 2nd. The Brewers are in 1st place. They have the same number of wins as the Cubs, just 1 more than the Cardinals, but they're 3 ahead of both teams in the loss column. They've played 2 fewer games than, or rather I should say 3 fewer games than St. Louis, 3 fewer games than Chicago. Is the story at the moment. The Cubs have lost 5 games in a row, so they are putting themselves in worse positions and missing opportunities with the chance to catch up to the Brewers and establish themselves in 1st place. And 5 straight losses not helping matters there for the Cubs. Back-to-back losses for the Cardinals. Quickly before we go to break and go to Bernie Miklas in our next segment, I did want to touch on City from Tuesday night in the Open Cup, and we're going to talk a lot about the game with Dale Schilly. I didn't want to saddle him with this because it's really not his job or his expertise. It wouldn't be fair to him to put him in position to comment on this. The attendance, just not where it should be for a team that's been playing really well this month and making a run in the Open Cup, which has so much history here in St. Louis. And you know, I was there along with, I don't know exactly what it was, probably 9,000, something like that. They had the City 2 seating parameters in place, meaning it was just one side and both ends of the lower bowl, nothing in the upper bowl or across the way on the club side, which it means the end that if you were watching on TV is underneath the camera. So it was the opposite side from the camera down to both ends. Even the supporter section was pretty sparsely populated. They did a great job, the folks who were there, with banging on the drums and waving the flags and making it sound like there were more people than there were. But it can't have been more than a third full in terms of actual human beings in the supporter section. It might not have even been that many, which, again, is a credit to the people who were there because they made it sound way better than that. I just don't think it's a very good look. And this is not specific to the supporters groups, though there is a part of this that is. To have had the protests that we had that were not specific to St. Louis, they were popped up around MLS when MLS started to de-emphasize the Open Cup in favor of the Leagues Cup, and that was primarily driven by the money grab. That MLS doesn't get enough money out of Open Cup, and they wanted more, and so they wanted to institute Open Leagues Cup as a way to take more money for themselves. And I agreed with those protests. I love that they happened because the Open Cup deserves more respect than that. And even in 2026, when we are a money-grabbing society and a money-grabbing sporting society, there should be room for a historic institution that has value for its history and for what it has meant to the game in this country. It kept soccer alive and grew the game before Don Garber was alive, let alone before MLS existed. And they should show a little bit more respect for their elders than that, independent of how much money it makes. You don't go to grandma's house and demand that she pay you for showing up. Right? Have a little bit of respect once in a while for the people who put you in that position. And St. Louis in particular is the city to stand up for that because of all the teams from St. Louis, from the amateur days to the semi-pro days to the minor league days that have participated in and won games and won titles in the Open Cup tournament. To turn around then and have the supporters section not full or anywhere close to it, have the rest of the crowd full in or full-ish in the sections that were open, but we're still not even talking about half the stadium being open and available in total seating capacity, I just think is not great. You know, it shows exactly why MLS did what they did, why they look at Open Cup as a dying and financially inviable institution, is because you have a historic market with a hot team playing in the quarterfinal, arguably outside of the playoff games against Kansas City, the biggest match that City Park has hosted, and you can't even get half of the stadium there. And I get it's a Tuesday night, and I get that the Cardinals are playing and playing well, but that's sort of MLS's point, is that this is an archaic, not built for attendance, not built for TV product that they wanted to replace with high-profile Leagues Cup games against high-profile Mexican clubs that they could play on weekends during a break in the season, in the MLS regular season, that is, and attract more TV money, more eyeballs on TV, and more folks in stadiums. And if Open Cup quarterfinal attendance in St. Louis, of all places, is not even 50% capacity, it becomes tough to argue with them. I will still make the argument because I still think, as I said, that those institutions have value and that history is worth preserving, regardless of how much profit it is generating or not generating on a particular night. But if that's the best that we can do, that's a little bit disappointing. It was still a really fun night. City beat Houston on penalties. Ben Lute came off the bench when Roman Berkey, the goalkeeper, had to leave with injury, and Lute was the hero in the end, stopping a couple of penalties in the shootout. I thought it was a really fun crowd to be a part of. In general, it felt like twice as many people were there as actually were. It would have been a truly epic night had that happened with a full stadium. And hopefully, if City get another home game in the semifinals or potentially in the final, we get better support and we can have better support is the wrong way to say it, but we can have a full stadium and really give it the full experience, because I think the Open Cup is being treated as a second-class citizen right now by fans who don't really understand what it is. And hopefully we can do a better job with that going forward. We got a comment from Pete on Facebook. You can follow any of our streams on Facebook, on YouTube, on X, wherever you might be following with us. He said they're competing with the Cardinals, Battlehawks, and Blues. Well, I don't know. Not really competing with the Battlehawks on a Tuesday night. Blues certainly not competing with anymore. So they are competing with the Cardinals. But, they've played home games at the same time as the Cardinals plenty of times and sold the place out for league matches. Now, that's been generally on weekends. But people show up for weeknight games, Wednesday night games in MLS, too. This just comes down to Open Cup not getting the respect it deserves. Now, I will say, this is not a criticism of the club generally. The one little bit of this that falls on the club specifically is the tickets are too expensive. For most people, it was $34 for general admission on a Tuesday night in the Open Cup. How is that good for the club or for the sport? Wouldn't it be better? I get they'd have more expenses if they had to open up more of the stadium, right? That's a cost-saving mechanism. Fewer employees need to work. But wouldn't it be better long-term if those tickets were $10 to $15 and you could sell 15 or 20,000 of them? I mean, not to make this too uncomfortable, but Stan Kroenke was charging a lot less for Open Cup tickets in Colorado. If the money grab owner of all money grab owners is charging less than we are, come on. I mean, I think it deserves better. I think the players deserved more. I think the fans who were there deserved more because they brought a lot. And if we had 23,000 people in the stadium bringing that level of energy and that level of commitment, that atmosphere would have been off the charts. It would have been back to what it was like the first year. The performance was a bit ragged from both teams. That's how a Tuesday night Open Cup game sometimes goes. But it was not uncompelling. I think it was a pretty solid performance, and it was a very entertaining finale and ultimate outcome, and an excellent experience in the stadium. So hopefully it gets its due a little bit more. Already late for Bernie Miklasz. We'll talk about the Cardinals, maybe the Billikens as well with Bernie. Coming up after this, it's Graybar Sports Open Line on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Most sellers put their home on the market and they just wait to see what happens. Well, I'm Kevin Wheeler, and I'm here with Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And Gloria, is there a better way to sell?
There is. Instead of listing your home the traditional way and hoping for the right buyer, I can get you up to 8 competitive cash offers right from the start. That means you're not guessing what your home might sell for. You're looking at the real offers and choosing the one that works the best for you. It also helps you to set the right price and create stronger demand if you decide to go to market. It gives you control, leverage, and a clear path forward before you accept just any offer. And remember, I'll guarantee to sell your home at 100% of the market value, or I'll pay you the difference.
Before you sell your home, see what your options are. Call the one that I trust. That's Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Your yard, your workday, your John Deere. At Side & Sugar Nobe Partners, get the mowing power you need with low financing options on John Deere Zero Turns. For a limited time, choose 0% financing for 36 months or 1.9% financing for 60 months on Z700, Z900, and Quick Track commercial mowers. Plus, get additional cash off select mowers. Side & Sugar Nobe, your partner for the land.
Offer valid through 6/1/2026. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Chrysalis Biosciences in Sauget, Illinois is hiring for multiple roles. Join a fast-growing ethanol plant transforming renewable energy with competitive pay, benefits, and growth opportunities. Apply today and grow your career with Chrysalis at chrysalisbio.com.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fire Capital Management for Your Retirement Highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
The final home game of the season is here, St. Louis. Your St. Louis Battlehawks hit the field Friday, May 29th at 7 p.m. against the Dallas Renegades at the Dome at America Center. It's Battlehawk Kids Day, packed with family fun, Battlehawks energy, and an Archie bobblehead giveaway while supplies last. Join Battlehawks Nation. Bring the whole crew and help close out the season the only way St. Louis knows how. Loud and proud. Caw-caw. Because caw is the law. Get tickets starting at just $18 at UFLBattlehawks.com or Ticketmaster.
Bernie Nicholas on KMOX is sponsored by Stewart's American Mortgage, home of the Bagel Loan, and by Salika Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer.
Gray Bar Sports Open Line continues on KMOX. Nate Gatter back with you in for Matt Pauley. Bernie Nicholas joins us now. Bernie, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Nate. Good to work with you again. Always fun.
Yeah,
how you doing?
I always look forward to working with you. The Pirates beat the Cardinals 6-2 today. Cardinals have lost 2 in a row in 3 of their last 4. Including, of course, dropping this series to Pittsburgh 2-1. They'll go on the road, play Cincinnati over the weekend, and then they'll be in Milwaukee Memorial Day. Starting on Memorial Day, the series in Cincinnati will get underway with a 5:40 Central Time first pitch tomorrow. Our pregame will start at 4:45 here on KMOX and across the Cardinals radio network, powered by Gray Bar. Bernie, it's always difficult. This is a stage of the season where I think it's very difficult to put things in perspective, like 2 losses in a row at home to the Pirates, who are not a bad team this year, 2 games above 500, the entire division, at least 2 above 500, because we've got a big enough sample size now. We can say that the Cardinals are at least a pretty good team, maybe even better than that, but they're at least a pretty good team. Certainly they have vastly exceeded expectations, 28-21 through their first 49 games of the year. On the other hand, it's still a small enough sample size that we don't know exactly how much of that is disproportionate success in close games and in extra innings that might regress over the course of the remainder of the season and just get to a more middling kind of number that you would expect, rather than a team that has, 10-3 in one-run games, 7-1 in extra innings. Those are numbers that generally are not sustainable for any team, especially one that's had some holes in the bullpen. And then there's the last consideration, which is that a 2-game sample size is just always a very small one in baseball, even if it was 2 home games that they lost by an aggregate score of 13-2. So how does this series against the Pirates and these 2 losses in a row fit into the framework of how we're viewing the Cardinals season up to this point?
Well, I agree with you. It's kind of an open-ended question, and it's silly to make any kind of declarations on, May the 21st. There's probably like 75% of the season left or whatever it is. But I try to, I'm not going to say like, I try to grab these things like and turn them into bite-sized pieces, but I do think it's important to pay attention to trends, because like small trends could become large trends. And in the Cardinals case, for example, there's so much to appreciate about them. There's so much to applaud. There's so much to like. But in the Cardinals case, they're having a really, really dormant May offensively. I thought they overachieved in the first month of the season offensively. I didn't think that was going to hold up, right? They averaged 5 runs per game, and they had a really, really good slugging percentage, and they were like in the top 10 major leagues in most categories offensively. I really did not think that would last, and it hasn't. But I got to say, I'm surprised by how much this offense has stalled out in May. I mean, it's not a pretty sight right now. I mean, they're averaging like 3.5 runs per game. In 18 May games, they've scored 2 or less, I think 9 times. So they're really just kind of scratching out runs. And other than the other night when they got that win over the Pirates, when they hit 4 home runs, they have not been hitting home runs this month. And there's a lot of guys on the team that aren't really getting much done offensively. And one thing that we've talked about, Nate, a lot is that I think the fact that the Cardinals, in all candor, have a really limited bench, which is a nice way of saying a lousy bench. And there comes a point in time in a season where you're going to need some bang from your bench. You're going to need some impact from your bench. And I don't see a lot of pieces there that would scare the other teams. Now I could do the thing and pander and talk about how, we all love Pozo and all that stuff, but I'm not talking about whether we love a guy for his personality. I'm just saying they do not have a bench that they can lean on for really high impact results. So that's a concern. And I think the number one concern on this team right now, and it's not starting pitching, in addition to the offense, but something that could really impact them long-term, to get to your premise. Riley O'Brien is not the same pitcher. And this is not me doing Chicken Little or me overreacting. This is me spending 2.5, 3 hours researching sort of a before and after picture with him, and also talking to a couple of former major league pitching coaches. There have been dramatic changes in his performance from the first 13 games of the season, when his appearances, where he was virtually perfect, in the last 10, where he is getting hit hard and his whiff swing rate is way down and his sinker is just getting destroyed. And I mean, there are about 5 or 6 or 7 different measures where it's not like, well, he's going through a little rut type of thing, where these things just open your eyes. I mean, I was like, whoa, this is actually some serious stuff here. So the question will be, of course, is this just a phase? Is he a little tired? Is he fatigued? Is he hurting a little? I don't know the answer, but it's just amazing how quickly that situation with him changed. And the numbers are there to look at it and say, uh-oh, and just hope it gets better.
You are spot on with 9 out of 19 games in May so far. The Cardinals have scored 2 runs or fewer. And, the thing about it is that although this is still relatively early on in the year, this is a very big stretch. They're 3 games into 12 straight against the National League Central, 15 out of 18, because they'll have a series the first weekend in June against the Reds at Busch as well. I mean, we're going to learn a lot about this Cardinals team over the next couple of weeks. The next 9 games are all against the division. That's going to do a lot to sort out where the Cardinals are in the division standings at the end of May. By the time they finish that Red Series and finish this stretch of 15 out of 18 against the division, will be June 8th, going into an off day on June 8th. And I think that'll be a day to kind of pick our heads up and take stock, because if the Cardinals in these next 15 games, 12 of them against the division, say go 500-ish, they could be mostly in the same place that they are now. But if they are 3 or 4 games under 500 in that stretch, or 3 or 4 games over 500, the effects on the division standings, obviously, are going to be disproportionate because of their opponents. Every game is in some ways 2 games in 1 in the standings. And so I wonder if we might look back on this couple of week stretch, let's say from the 19th of May, the opener of this Pirates series, to the 7th of June, when they'll finish up the second series against the Reds in this stretch, and say that kind of defined the information that this front office was given and that ultimately Chaim Bloom had in hand going into July in deciding how is he going to manage this. Because to your point about Riley O'Brien, there's no question this is a bullpen that is under-equipped for a pennant race, let alone for the postseason. And I think if this young core does enough, both in this stretch and in general until, let's say, July 15th, 20th, 25th, when decisions really have to be made, when the rubber really meets the road at the trade deadline, they deserve, at least in the form they are now and in the spot of the standings they are now, some level of support from this front office. It's not going to be drastic. It shouldn't be drastic. It shouldn't do anything that in any way hurts the future of this team, because the future of this team looks brighter than it has in years. But these young players deserve to see that they would be rewarded and will be rewarded if they play at this level and exceed expectations at this level, that this front office will step up to support them, to bolster them with what they need. And the back end of the bullpen seems like a place where they're going to need it.
Very well said. All of it, really outstanding. And you know, one of the things I actually, I'm making fun of myself. I actually get kind of grouchy with, you know, we in the media, not talking about you, because
You can talk about me. You won't offend
no,
me.
No. It's a fair thing to wonder about. Okay, what will this next stretch? To your point, it's a very important stretch. How's that going to influence what decisions are going to have to come later? And I agree, but I also think there's so much time to go before then that you know it just constantly comes up like, oh, are they going to trade Dustin May? Oh, are they going to trade Riley O'Brien? Oh, are they going to? And I understand why we all talk about it. I'm not saying it's illegitimate at all, but I'm just saying, man, there's a lot of games between now and then. And, you know, it's kind of like, I'm not going to say it's a waste of time, but I do think for, you know, recreational entertainment reasons, it's fine. But I'm just not aligned in any way to even try to pretend I think I know what Chaim Bloom is going to do. But I will say this. If they are, in fact, in the chase for even a wild card spot, I think I'm going to use his terminology. He said that he'll get creative. And people say, well, what does that mean? Well, creative is kind of a code for, I'll get this team some help, but we're going to do it in a way that we're comfortable with. And I take that to mean, knowing his background, they have their eyes on some potential help, but we're talking about, I'm not going to call them gems, but we're guys that they think have a chance that they can make better. They can make them better. They can find a way to get better results out of them. They are kind of like hidden gems that the Cardinals are eyeing up that they don't have to give up much for. Tampa Bay would make those trades all the time, for example. So I think he will get creative, and just to play along, I think he will ride to the rescue. And I do believe Cardinals fans understand they're not going to do anything where he's going to give up prospects that it gives him great pain to part with. He's not going to do that, and nor should he. So it is going to be an interesting time. But listen, the starting rotation, for the talent that's there, they've done about as well as they can. I thought the Pirates series was a little concerning in that regard. The three starters got beat up pretty good. We talked about the offense. We talked about the bench. We talked about the bullpen. I mean, there's a lot of things that, you know, again, to get back to your premise, which is a good one, there's a lot of things over these next next stretch of games against, you know, NL Central teams that could go wrong. So the Cardinals, not to sound overly dramatic, they're kind of teetering in some areas right now, you know, and somehow, some way during this stretch of NL Central, you know, man against man, they're going to have to turn some of these things around in the middle of this hot competition against division rivals.
Yeah, you mentioned the starting pitching didn't have a good series against the Pirates. Matthew Liberatore in particular, kind of a weird start with the 9 strikeouts over 4 2/3, but allowing the 4 runs. You know, I think your point is well taken, which is that we have so much baseball between now and the end of July. We're not even halfway from opening day, or we're roughly halfway, I guess, from opening day to the trade deadline. So there's still a ton of baseball to be played. With that in mind, let's take the exact opposite approach. Let's not look ahead at all in the way that, as you astutely say, so many of us in the media like to do. Let's instead narrow in on just this stretch, this next 9 games between now and the end of May against the division. What do you particularly have your eye on, outside, obviously, of wins and losses, that will start to tell you more about this team, or that will tell you which way on the seesaw the Cardinals are teetering as we turn the calendar into the dog days?
I'm looking for, okay, I'll take this one by one, and I'll try to be quick. I'm looking for, okay, 3 games in Cincinnati. All right. That is a hitter's amusement park. All right. How are the Cardinals pitchers going to hold up? Talking about the starters, talking about the relievers. are we going to have to hold our breath when Riley O'Brien enters a game? I mean, the Great American Ballpark's not a good place for this team to be entering right now, at least on the pitching end. And will the Great American Ballpark also, in a way, kind of jumpstart the Cardinals' offense? Maybe they can hit, some cheap homers and win a couple games. So that's number one. Number two, they go to Milwaukee, and I'm sorry. Now, listen, I never preclude any possibility. It's not like I'm saying, Nate, there's no way the Cardinals are going to win a series in Milwaukee. I'm not saying that. But the Brewers are on fire, and like everything is clicking. Everything is clicking. And they're doing the Brewers thing. We all foolishly underestimate them to some extent every year, and then they proceed to basically, metaphorically speaking, punch us in the mouth so we can't talk about how, well, this is the year they're going to sort of back up, That is going to be a really tough place to visit for too many reasons that I can even give in the limited time we have. But I think Milwaukee will be a big-time test for them because Milwaukee clearly is the class of the division and clearly is the one team because of their starting pitching, because of their depth, and because of the most brilliant front office in baseball. If any team in the Central is going to run away with it, so to speak, or just open up a lot of daylight, it's Milwaukee. So that'll be a major test for the Cardinals. And then, all right, the Cubs come into St. Louis after that, and I'm going to look at it almost from the opposite view in this regard. The Cubs are in disarray with their pitching, real disarray with their pitching, and Alex Bregman is not hitting, Dansby Swanson's not hitting, the young catcher is not hitting. So when the Cubs come to town, now listen, the Cubs may win a few games before they get to town, but when they come to Busch Stadium, can the Cardinals keep them down or keep them from, in effect, rising up and winning the series or taking all three games? Can the Cardinals land enough hard punches on the Cubs to kind of continue the Cubs' misery? That's how I would frame that series.
Bernie, we appreciate you as always. It's going to be a very informative next 10 days, 9 games coming here for the Cardinals. Thanks so much for being with us.
Always, Nate. You take care. Thanks for having me on.
Bernie Miklasz on Gray Bar Sports Open Line. We'll continue with more after this on KMOX.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Kicking back on your patio with a nice cold beverage, listening to the game, enjoying family and friends, a little barbecue, maybe the shade of the pergola. Who knows what your outdoor space looks like? Or maybe it doesn't look like much and you need some help. Call Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best. They're like your summer headquarters to make sure that your outdoor space is ready for all the celebrating or relaxing that you have planned. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best for 58 years. A family-owned local company that does quality work, and that makes it a real value because when Chesterfield Fence and Deck does your project, it is going to last for years to come. And they'll offer you 48 months interest-free financing if you mention me, Debbie Monterey, sent you. So you can visit them in person in the Chesterfield Valley or online right now at chesterfieldfence.com. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
Just a reminder to have your air conditioner checked for the summer so you don't have a mishap and it goes down in the hottest day of the year. But it's always best to have it done. Call us and we'll be more than happy to come out there and check it for you. And like always, if you're having your furnace checked by another company and you are told that this is the year you need to replace it, call me for a second opinion. The 0% interest is still available on most brands. Save your cash and keep your credit cards open and away from those high rates. Call me. You'll be glad you did. Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest. It is 314-293-2600. Or on the website, bartinman.com. Now that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-720-8444. 314-720-8444. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-720-8444.
Last year, we had 295 trials where we've been offered a total of $90 million on all those cases. When the dust settled, we had recovered over $1.1 billion in verdicts and mid-trial settlements. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason. We won a lot, $30 billion and counting. The best part of all those wins is that it helps you when you hire us. All those wins allow us to let the insurance company know we mean business. And believe me, they know who we are. If you've been injured, Google Morgan & Morgan results. You're not bragging if it's a fact. 3 million people tried to hire us last year alone. That happened for a reason. Visit forthepeople.com and let's get started this minute. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Gray Bar Sports Open Line continues on KMOX. Nate Gatter with you in for Matt Pauley. We have visited already with Bernie Miklas talking about the Cardinals. We also discussed St. Louis City SC, a little bit of the win in the U.S. Open Cup over Houston on Tuesday, and a little bit on the attendance as well around that, and some of the Open Cup, I don't know, drama is too strong a word, but just some of those ongoing discussions that have been had these last couple of years in relation to the Open Cup. And by the way, I briefly mentioned Stan Kroenke and his Colorado Rapids during that segment. City will be playing Stan Kroenke's Colorado Rapids in September in the Open Cup semifinals. Not yet determined if that will be a home or road game. It's going to be a toss-up because both teams were at home in the previous round. And so potentially, if City were to play at home against Colorado, I would think that would do something to jolt those Open Cup attendance numbers, certainly, because any matchup against Stan Kroenke obviously gets the people going. You can go back and hear Bernie's interview. Anything that you've missed, you can always get it on the free Odyssey app. You can stream us live there, including free Cardinals baseball, St. Louis City SC soccer games on that Odyssey app. You can also go back and hear our shows and interviews in podcast form. That's the Odyssey app, AUDACY. We will take a break. When we come back, I want to tell you just briefly before we head into our second hour about a sport that might not be on your radar, but maybe you should give a try this week. That's coming up next on KMOX.
Meet me at the Muni in Forest Park.
Muni
Tickets for 2026 are on sale now, featuring Hairspray, Shrek the Musical, South Pacific, Disney's Newsies, Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Times of the Temptations, Meet Me in St. Louis, and Something Rotten. Choose your seats now at muni.org.
Meet me at the Muni in Forest Park.
Spring cleaning rule number 1, out with the old, in with the new. And frankly, your family's old internet connection is a dinosaur. Upgrade to the 1 gig modern family standard from i3 Broadband. It's 100% true in-home fiber with equal upload and download speeds, so your teenager's gaming won't crash your video call. Even better, we're currently offering our longest price guarantees ever on our gig speed internet services. Say goodbye to exploding promo prices and hello to budget certainty. Visit i3broadband.com/radio and start your spring off right.
Whoopah! The most mouthwatering event of the year is back. Join us this Memorial Day weekend for the St. Louis County Greek Fest at Assumption Greek Orthodox Church. Enjoy authentic Greek food, lively music, dancing, and church tours. Credit cards only. Visit stlgreekfest.com for full details.
In a world in need of a hero, one man rises to the challenge in style. He is...
just driving the kids to soccer practice.
Make every day feel epic in the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid with up to an EPA-estimated 619 miles of range on select trims, advanced tech, and class-leading interior space. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
And hey, come on, no cleats on the seats.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hello, 4th of July.
Back-to-back Jack! Kerry Robinson, a hero tonight!
The Cubs visit St. Louis May 29th through the 31st for a weekend of baseball's best rivalry at Busch Stadium. The history is real. The fans are loud, and the energy in the ballpark is unmatched. Day or night, every pitch matters when these two meet. So get ready, Cardinals fans. This is what summer baseball in St. Louis is all about. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/tickets.
The weekend starts at Busch Stadium. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Lou. With $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at cardinals.com.
For all station contest rules, go to KMOX.com/rules.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. After 15 years and over 50,000 cancellations, I can tell you with confidence, we know how to get you out of your timeshare. Call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit guide absolutely free with all your options for cancellation. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-838-6767. 800-838-6767. 800-838-6767.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Nate Gatter filling in for Matt Pauley on this Thursday evening. We're just about through our first hour of Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX. Second hour still to come. We will visit with Dale Schilly starting off our second hour just after the top of the hour, around 7:05. Dale Schilly, who is the analyst for all St. Louis City SC games over on Y98, alongside Joey Zanaboni, will be with us to discuss the win for City at Energizer Park on Tuesday night over Houston in the quarterfinals of the Open Cup, advancing to the semifinals. And one of the things that makes the Open Cup a little tricky is the semifinals won't be played for almost 4 months, mid-September, either the 15th or the 16th, either here or in Commerce City, Colorado, against the Rapids. We'll follow that with a chat with Stu Durando, who covers the St. Louis Billikens for his Substack, Stu on SLU. He'll be with us around 7:20, and we will discuss a few topics, but the primary one, maybe the exclusive one, will be the schedule that the Billikens men's basketball program is putting together for next season, because it looks awfully spicy. And, of course, we have some indications of the schedule for at least next year as well, and potentially even the year beyond that. There's been reports that the game against Missouri will be the first of potentially as many as a 3-game series at Enterprise Center as well. But certainly some of these, the DePaul game just announced, will be a home-and-home. There will also be a home-and-home against St. Mary's, and maybe one or two of the other ones involve a second game, if not a third, as well. And we will talk to Stu about all of those. Really quickly, before we take a break and send you to the news, I promised to touch on a sport that might not be on your radar. So I spent last weekend and a good chunk of this spring calling softball for ESPN. Last weekend, I was in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, to call the number 1 overall seed Crimson Tide in their regional. They rolled. They didn't give up a run the entire weekend. We are into the super regionals of the softball NCAA tournament, which means the final 16 teams are standing, and they play each other best 2 out of 3. In theory, the 1 seed against the 16, 2 against the 15, so on, unless there were any upsets in the regional round, which there were a couple. And you play best 2 out of 3 at one team's park or the other. The top 8 move on to the Women's College World Series in Oklahoma City starting a week from today. The Supers start tonight. One game is already in action, Georgia and Tennessee. Oklahoma State and Nebraska will play game 1 of their series in Lincoln later on this evening. If you have not watched any softball before, maybe this is a bad time to start watching, because it's kind of like jumping straight to heroin to go to the super regionals, having not done any of the gateway drugs on the way in. But I think it would be fun. If you don't have anything else in mind, maybe give softball a little try this weekend, because it is a really fun sport played in fun atmospheres by extremely athletic kids. And I think you'll have a good time. Second hour of Gray Bar Sports Open Line after this.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Ethos.
Nintendo is hiking the price of its Switch 2 game console by $50 to $500 as the company looks to offset profit pressures. Nintendo says its hardware business is feeling pressure from a global electronics component shortage and higher shipping costs due to the Iran conflict. Even with weakening sales, the Switch was the top-selling gaming console in March, according to industry tracker Circana. I'm Jason Brooks.
Earn an accredited MBA in as few as 16 months for about $21K at University of Maryland Global Campus. Explore 10 specializations, including finance, HR, cyber technology, and more. Plus, showcase the value of your MBA with a comprehensive learner record and digitally demonstrate in-demand skills and credentials to employers. No application fee if you apply by June 1st. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by SHAF.
There's one box that you'd run back into your burning house to grab. It's the box filled with your videotapes, film reels, and photos. Those sentimental, meaningful, irreplaceable moments. Hi, I'm Nick Mako.
And I'm Adam Baselogger. We started Legacy Box over a decade ago so that we could help families save their memories from being destroyed by floods or fires.
And it's not just natural disasters, Adam. Every day, videotapes and photos are slowly fading away, decaying, neglected in closets and attics.
Digitizing your old media stops fading, and preserving those recordings means they are safe forever. It's like magic, converting your shoebox of memories into digital files, ready to watch and share.
It's the only way to ensure your legacy is safe for generations. That's why over 1 million families have already trusted Legacy Box. Legacy Box is simple and easy, it works, and is safe. We'd love to preserve your family's collection. Don't wait, the risk is too great.
Visit legacybox.com/radio to save 50%. That's legacybox.com/radio to get started and save. legacybox.com/radio.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-all-9s or cantorinjurylaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision decision and should not be based on advertising.
Hi, this is Congresswoman Ann Wagner from Missouri's 2nd District. I work every day to put more money in your pocket, secure the border, protect our shared Missouri values, and keep our communities safe. Whether it's visiting one of my public events in neighborhoods around the district or by contacting my office, I want to hear from you. If you need help with a federal agency, please contact me at wagner.house.gov.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. Outrage on the House floor tonight after Republicans pulled a vote on an Iran war power resolution due to attendance issues from within the GOP. Democrats immediately responding. House Rules Committee Chair Jim McGovern.
Mr. Speaker, further parliamentary inquiry. Are we not voting on it because the American people are sick and tired of this illegal war that is costing tens of billions of dollars?
Senate Republicans in open revolt over President Trump's new taxpayer fund to reward allies who claim they were persecuted by the Biden Justice Department, a group that could include the rioters who stormed the Capitol and attacked police officers on January 6. Republicans demanding answers or they won't approve more funding for the president's immigration crackdown. His family says a two-time NASCAR champion and legendary driver Kyle Busch has died. The announcement of Busch's death coming just hours after the family announced that the 41-year-old was hospitalized after experiencing a severe illness. This is ABC News. The Vatican says thou shalt not pretend to be a sexy priest, even for a popular Roman souvenir. ABC's Sherry Preston.
On the crowded streets of Rome, especially near the Vatican, the smiling face of a very hot priest looks out from a souvenir stand advertising a 2027 calendar featuring him and 11 other sexy men of the cloth. In reality, cover model Giovanni Galizia and most of those inside are not priests, and the photos for each month haven't changed in more than 20 years. Galizia is now a 39-year-old flight attendant who says he posed for the calendar when he was 17 on a lark, and it's had no bearing on his life until this week when the story about the fake sexy priests surfaced. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Following a botched lethal execution attempt some witnesses described as horrible to watch, Tennessee's governor granting a one-year stay for Tony Carruthers, who was set to be executed after being convicted of killing 3 people in 1994. His attorney saying they're relieved for the decision. Dave Packer, ABC News.
And at 7:02, it's a cloudy sky. Right now, 67 degrees downtown at the Arch. Is Waymo still planning on expanding the driverless taxi service to St. Louis after the Missouri State Legislature failed to establish regulations?
Yes, according to Waymo's product communications manager, Chris Benelli. However, he provided no timeline for their rollout in a statement provided to KMOX. He says in the statement they are continuing to, quote, explore every available avenue to invest millions of dollars in the jobs and infrastructure required to support their operations. Waymo first announced their plans in December to expand to St. Louis, and their vehicles were first spotted in January, but with human drivers as they continue to map the city. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
City leaders are introducing legislation to significantly raise water rates for the second time in 3 years. Mayor Kara Spencer could not guarantee rates would not need to be hiked again in the future, but she says their rate study gives them confidence that this particular hike is a solution to the shortfall at the water division.
At that time, many of us were aware that rate increase was not going to be sufficient. We just knew that because the research, the work going into it was not done to the level that brought that level of confidence.
The water division says a $42 water bill would increase to $58 by 2027, and then 5 more years of continued rate hikes between 5% and 6% after an additional 18% year. John O'Leary was just 9 years old when an accidental garage fire burned 100% of his body. That story is told in the movie Soul on Fire, which was filmed in St. Louis in 2023 and will be screened on Saturday night after the Gateway Grizzlies game. O'Leary tells Chris and Amy on KMOX that the screening is a way to recognize the people who worked on the film in St. Louis.
The reality is the real work is done behind the camera, and there's hundreds that do the real work. And so when you've reached out to us and said, we're going to show your film, those were the guys I first reached out to say, hey, guys, you've got something cool. You want to go? And so the first several hundred tickets were taken by the men and women who work diligently and humbly to promote something and build something beautiful. So I'm excited that in the stands Saturday night, you're going to see the people who made the movie a reality.
The forecast from Dave Murray. We've got clouds taking over in the overnight hours tonight. 57 degrees the low. For tomorrow, periods of showers and a few storms. Dave says nothing strong or severe, and it's not going to be all day. Otherwise, just a cloudy Friday with the high of 70. Showers fade tomorrow night, 59. For Saturday, Sunday, and Memorial Day Monday, Dave says some spot thunderstorms, a fair share of dry time each day as well. Sun's going to be out with a high of 80 all those days. Right now, it's a cloudy sky, 67 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Nate Gatter back with you in for Matt Pauley, hour 2 of the Gray Bar Sports Open Line this evening. During our first hour, we talked about the Cardinals losing today and back-to-back games, 7-0 and 6-2 the last couple of days against the Pittsburgh Pirates to drop the series 2-1. That's 3 losses for the Birds in their last 4. We also discussed St. Louis City SC and their win over Houston Dynamo in the Open Cup at Energizer Park Tuesday night. Little bit about the St. Louis Billikens. We'll do more on them coming up with Stu Durando, who covers the Bills for Stu on Slew, his Substack. He'll be with us in about 15 minutes as this second hour continues. And we'll, of course, talk more Cardinals as time goes on the show, and a little bit more City as well. We would hope. Nate Gatter with you. Kyle Sixta is producing things. We'll hear from some of Kyle's thoughts on the Cardinals as well. Should mention, by the way, we haven't made a big deal out of it, but if you were with us at the top of the hour and heard the ABC News report, that was the first ABC newscast ever to air on KMOX, and probably the first not done by national newscast, not done by CBS, to air on this radio station ever, certainly in a century or whatever it's been. So that's pretty cool. You heard a little bit of a radio history, and ABC News making their official debut here on KMOX, and we appreciate them for being a part of our KMOX shows at the top of the hour going forward from here. Time now to visit with Dale Schilly, who you know from his analysis on St. Louis City games over on Y98 alongside Joey Zanaboni, and he lends his expertise to us frequently. Dale, we appreciate you for being with us. How are you?
I am good, Nate. Good to hear from you.
We saw an at times discombobulated showing, I think, from both teams on Tuesday night. It had a Tuesday night Open Cup feel to it. A couple of sloppy goals early on, a red card late, go through 120 minutes and ultimately settle it on penalties. But I think you have to say an entertaining game, even if it wasn't always a perfectly played one. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure entertaining for the fans. I mean, the excitement of it, the drama of losing Roman to the injury, and then Ben coming up big in the PKs. It was, really exciting for the fans. I think everybody felt like, hey, this is a good time. This is fun.
One of the moments, if not the moment, of Ben Lute's career to this point. I mean, obviously, he's seen the field plenty for City in his time as Roman Bürki's number 2 goalkeeper, with Bürki having some injury issues at times. But this was a pretty big game, a pretty big moment. I mean, nothing really gets bigger for a goalkeeper than, knockout stage penalty kicks like this. And he saved 2 out of 4 and propelled City through to the semifinals of the Open Cup for the first time. I mean, that's got to be one of the nights of his career.
Yeah, for sure. And look, let's talk about the 2 saves. I mean, I don't think Herrera's was hit particularly well, but the first one, I don't remember who shot it.
Augusto.
I think, he had to get out and make a big stretch to get to that one, but he got 2 hands to it. And then Herrera's, I thought, was a little more central. I think maybe Ben could have headed that one clear, but he got 2 hands to that one. But, huge moment for him. And every time he steps in, there's always a difficult moment. He's such a good character. He's a good person around the facility, in the locker room. He's a good leader, even though he's not on the field. He's a cheerleader. He's a supportive guy, and just a huge moment for him and historic for the club. And there's been a lot of eggs put in the Open Cup basket. When you look at the rosters, the team that's been put on the field, when you look at the preparation, even when you see the goal that we scored against Tulsa was something that they were working on the day before. And for Ben to come up big in PKs, it's a huge moment for him, an important moment for the club.
If you want to hear more from Joey and Dale, of course, you can always hear every City game live on the free Odyssey app, AUDACY, or over at Y98. Should mention as well, City not only 4 out of 4 on their penalties in the shootout, Leuven, Hartle, Baumgartel, and Durkin all scoring, but also had one to level the match in the second half. That was Hartle as well. So Hartle scored a pair of penalties, City 5 out of 5 between regular time and then the penalty shootout. You mentioned a couple of things there that I want to dig into. One of them is the match day squads and the 11s that City have been putting out in the Open Cup, and we'll get to that in just a minute. First, though, just to wrap up the conversation on Ben Lute, backup goalkeeper seems like, even outside of the context of a knockout tournament like this one, but in general, seems like one of the most difficult jobs in all the professional sports because in most cases, especially behind somebody like Roman Berkey, you're not seeing the field. So sure, you're getting action in training, but he is not getting game action. And then when he goes into the game, he becomes vital immediately with virtually no time to acclimate. You just never know. You could go through an entire season never playing, or at a moment's notice, you could become one of the most important people in the entire club.
Yeah, and you said it best too with Roman and his situation, and his career and just the quality goalkeeper that he is. That your time is limited, and when that moment comes, you're playing at home. It's an Open Cup match. You are called on immediately to perform, and you can't say that I'm rusty. You can't say I haven't had enough repetitions because you've had to be good in training, and you're expected to be prepared for the game. And I have a feeling that Roman, likes having Ben as his backup. The guy that's working with him in training daily, because Ben goes out and competes every single day. Like he said, he's supportive. He's cheering guys on. He's rooting for Roman. He's the first guy off the bench to meet Roman at the midfield line at halftime or post game. He's just he's a good dude to have in the locker room, and just an incredibly difficult job to step onto the field and perform when you just haven't seen the reps. You're not starting the game. It's a really difficult position.
The other thing you mentioned is the selections that City have made, that Johan de May and the coaching staff have made in the teams they're putting forward, the personnel they're using in the Open Cup. Now, once they get to the quarterfinals of the Open Cup, playing a home game, and on the MLS side, they've had only 13 points from 13 matches, though, of course, that's trending in the right direction. It's not surprising they would put forth a really strong lineup. But it seems like that's been the point of emphasis throughout the Open Cup this year, is they're going to take that very, very seriously. And now they have themselves a rather golden opportunity, one of only 4 teams left standing for the first trophy in the history of the club.
Yeah, I mean, they have taken it very serious. And look, I think Johan from the beginning has showed that he's willing to put the guys out on the field that he believes are going to get him the result week in and week out. I don't see him monkeying with the lineup, whether it's an MLS game or an Open Cup match. I think he's each game, one game at a time, he's trying to figure out how to get 3 points. And he's not giving guys opportunities just because somebody else may not have performed to the level that people wanted him to. He's still looking at training, assessing the player, and going with what he thinks is going to get him the result on the weekend, or, in case of the Open Cup, during the middle of the week. So, yeah, he's committed to it. He's put, the Tulsa game, he put a good lineup on the field. Maybe not the exact same lineup we saw in league games, but a lineup that he thought could get the result, and they got the result, and they've moved on now into going to play a difficult Colorado team out in Colorado, I think in September.
Dale Schilly is with us, St. Louis City SC Academy Director and Y98 Match Day Analyst. And the other interesting thing about the Open Cup and how it's situated right now with the semifinals is that City are not unique in being a team in the bottom half of the MLS standings, putting a lot of eggs into the Open Cup basket. In fact, all 4 of the remaining teams, Columbus, Orlando, Colorado, and St. Louis, are outside of their respective playoff pictures in their conferences. The opposite semifinal, Columbus against Orlando, that's number 10, Orlando against number 13, Columbus, in the Eastern Conference standings. And City against Colorado is the 11th ranked Rapids and the 14th ranked City in the Western Conference. So you're looking at teams that are all sort of in the same position saying, look, I mean, it's too early in the season to rule anybody out, let alone teams like Colorado and Orlando, who are just barely outside the playoff picture. So certainly any one of these teams, or all four of them even, could still make runs and get into the postseason picture by the end of the year. But all of them are looking at this as by far their most likely chance at a trophy this year.
Yeah, 100%. All the teams have looked at this as, this is an opportunity to win a championship, to win a trophy. They're all committed to putting good teams on the field. And again, you try to get by with what you can. Colorado had a scare when I think they went to overtime with the switchbacks from the USL. So, you have those moments where you're trying to get by with what you can get by with. But now at this stage, everybody's going to put their best team in the field. And I'm interested to see what the rosters look like, what the teams look like come September in the next round, as compared to where the teams are currently.
One more for you. City will have one final game before the World Cup break this coming Saturday afternoon against Austin, and City will have the chance at home at Energizer Park to finish out. It's not exactly the first half of the season, I guess, but thereabouts the first half of the season before the World Cup break on a high note and continue what has been positive momentum now, counting the Open Cup game. That is now 4 on the bounce, unbeaten, a couple of wins over Colorado and LAFC on the road and at home, respectively. Then the draw away against D.C. and the penalties win over Houston in the Open Cup quarterfinal on Tuesday. What do you have your eye on, especially in a busy stretch here for City, playing back-to-back midweek games? Because the game this Saturday will be their 5th in a 2-week span, 14 days and 5 games. What are you looking at in particular for this Saturday before the break?
Yeah, I would say 2 things, really. One, can City sustain, the energy that they played with here over the last couple of games? But they were decent in some of the games as of late, 70 minutes, 75 minutes of good performance. Can they sustain that? We've seen, a couple of games earlier in the year when it was 3 games in 8 days. The Seattle game sticks out in my mind, where you just felt like we didn't have legs in that, in that third game. So where are we at from a fitness perspective? Does the extra day help us? A Tuesday night game versus a Wednesday night game. The other thing I'm looking at is Austin. Changed coaches, but a really talented team. They spent quite a bit of money in midfield and up front on the attacking side of the game. So I would expect that Austin's going to come out flying, trying to get that new coach bump and try to put their best foot forward here at the end of the first part of the season. And they have the quality to do it. But we've been good on the defending side. We've kept teams away from goal as of late. We're doing a good job of controlling good parts of the game and pushing teams back. And can we pin Austin back in their end and keep them from breaking out and getting out into the attack and going numbers up? It's going to be an interesting game. It's 2 contrasting styles, and I'm looking forward to just seeing how we can control their potent attack.
Well, we're looking forward to hearing you call it, Dale. You and Joey Santaboni over on Y98 Saturday afternoon, City against Austin. Dale, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
All right. Thanks, Nate.
Dale Schille, you can hear him over on Y98. And also, if you play in St. Louis City's Academy, you hear him that way, too. But that's a little harder to qualify. You can turn on Y98 or the Odyssey app for free. Not even going to make you go through a trial process to get into the Academy. We'll take a break and talk a little St. Louis Billikens basketball with Stu Durando after this.
Feel the rhythm and turn it up, St. Louis. Legendary rock icons Santana and the Doobie Brothers are bringing the heat to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater June 20th for the Oneness Tour 2026. From Black Magic Woman to Listen to the Music, this is the concert event fans don't want to miss. It'll be a summer night soon not forgotten. Santana, the Doobie Brothers. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. For more info, go to KMOX.com/events.
Right now, inflation is squeezing budgets, and global events can shake up the markets overnight. If you're close to retirement, you don't get unlimited do-overs, so this is not the time to just hope it works out. That's why Steve Auld and the team at the All Financial Group are hosting an upcoming educational seminar called Retirement Simplified, June 16th at the All Financial Group office. You'll learn how rising costs could drain your spending power, how political and economic headlines may impact your returns, and whether your retirement strategy is truly stress-tested for today's economy. This event is complimentary, and you must reserve your seat today. 636-230-8824. You can also get more details online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, or registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions. The All Financial Group is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the U.S. government or any other government agency.
For women with postmenopausal osteoporosis at high risk for fracture, there's more you can do to strengthen your bones with Evenity. This is the sound of 4 women who think they're doing everything they can. A high fracture risk will cause 3 of them to break a bone in their lifetime. With Evenity, they could be rapidly building new bone in just 12 months. 2 think they already are building bone. And for 1, the game is about to change. To make an appointment, press 2. Because she's calling her doctor about Evenity. Evenity can increase the risk of heart attack, stroke, or death from a heart problem. Tell your doctor if you have had a heart attack or stroke. Do not take Evenity if you have low blood calcium or are allergic to it, as serious events have occurred with Evenity. Signs include rash, hives, swelling of the face or throat, which may cause difficulty in swallowing or breathing, muscle spasms or cramps, numbness or tingling. Tell your doctor about severe jawbone problems as they have been reported with Evenity. Report hip, groin, or thigh pain. Unusual thigh bone fractures have occurred with Evenity. Learn more about building new bone at Evenity.com.
Looking for reliable HVAC service in St. Louis? The team at Air Comfort Service handles all your heating, cooling, installation, and residential maintenance needs. Visit aircomfortservice.com or call 314-819-0028 today.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
For men over 50, staying healthy shouldn't feel complicated. Neovitin Men's 50 Plus is a doctor-formulated daily multivitamin designed to support everyday wellness with just 2 tablets a day. You can subscribe at neovitin.com for convenient monthly delivery right to your door, or find Neovitin Men's 50 Plus at your local Deerbirds or Schnucks. All Neovitin vitamins are manufactured in a GMP-certified facility in the USA and are designed for real, everyday routines. Make nutrition easy with Neovitin Men's 50 Plus.
Missouri's laws are clear. Unregulated gaming devices are illegal. Companies have been telling businesses that gray market machines are legal. That's wrong. Don't be scammed. If you have these devices at your business, you could be subject to criminal and civil penalties. Unplug and remove these devices today.
If you've been approached to host illegal gaming machines, call now. 800-523-1434 or visit ago.mo.gov. Sponsored by the Attorney General's Office.
Retirement. Exciting in one way, scary in others. How do you find the financial advisor that covers all the bases? Join Greg Ayler Saturdays at 1 on Fire Your Financial Advisor.
Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Nate Gatter back with you as Gray Bar Sports Open Line continues on KMOX. Thanks for being with us on this Thursday evening. We have talked Cardinals. We have talked City. You can always go back and hear any of that on the free Odyssey app, AUDACY. You can get in on the conversation by calling us, texting us, tweeting us. You can tweet Kyle Sixto, my producer, personally, or text his cell phone. That's also fine. You can leave comments on YouTube, Facebook, on X, wherever else you're following along with us here on KMOX. We're joined now by Stu Durando, who covers the St. Louis Billikens for his Substack, Stu on SLU, and does it very, very well. Stu, how you doing?
I'm good, Nate. Thanks for having me.
Well, I appreciate you being here because we've got a lot to get through. On the scale of off-season, we've had some very, very busy couple of weeks here for the St. Louis Billikens and their scheduling news. We'll kind of go through it in a little more specificity here, just lift off some of the games. And now some of these, if not most of them, are just reported at this point. They haven't been confirmed officially by the Billikens, but we expect all of these to happen so far. And I'm taking this from your own Twitter, Stu, so I appreciate you putting it together so nicely. Folks can go see it at Stu Durando. But using the final net rankings from last year, here's what we have confirmed by the various reporters and Stu's sourcing for next year's St. Louis schedule. At St. Mary's, they were number 24 last year. South Florida, number 45 a year ago. That's neutral. Missouri, number 59 last year. High Point, 68. Grand Canyon, 71. Then either 62 or 73, Stanford or Arizona State. Home and home reportedly agreed this week with number 101 DePaul, then Lehigh, number 282, the only outlier there. We're talking about a schedule last year, Stu, that was nowhere near this good. I mean, what a credit to Josh Schertz and this Billikens coaching staff for going out and finding a way.
Yeah, there was a lot of grumbling last year about from fans about the schedule and not having named teams coming to Chaffetz and so on and so forth. Actually, the schedule, the non-conference ended up working out great for them with the one loss and beating a couple of pretty good teams. But this is pretty obviously better in terms of what all these teams did last season. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that went to the NCAA tournament. You've got 7 of the 8 that we're know about so far that were ended up in the top 100 of the net rankings. I think last year they ended up with 3 non-conference top 100 net teams. So, on paper right now, this looks markedly better.
And on top of that, I think the DePaul matchup is a really fun one because it's a home and home, and it's two regional rivals in St. Louis and Chicago, a couple of schools that have history with each other on the basketball court that have a lot of similarities as Jesuit institutions. It's just the kind of matchup that makes a lot of sense, and I think St. Louis obviously would love to be playing more games against Big East opponents, in part because they might like to be in the Big East, but even if they can't be, they'd like to play some of those Big East opponents in non-conference because so many of them do fit that profile of the kind of games that you want, and it's a chance to play home and home because as we've seen in this schedule and as we've seen around the country, in order to make these games happen, a lot of times they're having to play neutral sites, and those can be great too. I mean, I think Enterprise Center for Mizzou against St. Louis is going to be some kind of scene, so we're not complaining, but it's great to have at least some of these games in on-campus venues still.
Yeah, absolutely. DePaul made sense, forever, and it was kind of like, they're similar maybe to Butler or Creighton, where you felt like those were teams that they should have been able to maybe get a home and home with. DePaul goes back to the Conference USA days. I used to cover SLU and DePaul when they were in that conference. They're close. You got the Chicago market to go to compared with St. Louis and the Jesuit schools. All of those things just made total sense. And DePaul's trying to be on the rise. They've had some rough times lately, but that's a really good matchup to get for a home and home and to get a Big East school, which we were kind of led to believe wasn't going to happen next season.
So obviously these things can be very, very fluid, but with where we are now and with them having put 7 top 100 net games on the schedule already, that's a pretty darn good number, and I think it comfortably exceeds expectations, especially when it has the sex appeal of that Missouri game as kind of the headliner for the fan base. Do you think we're probably finished now, that the Billikens are more or less happy with what they have, and now it's about just filling out the schedule and collecting other games that make sense? Or do you think that the staff has the mentality right now with how they've been playing and the way the program is humming along that they're hungry for any opportunity that comes their way?
As you look at it, tend to think that pretty much the rest of it's probably going to be buy games for Chaffetz, teams that they bring in that they buy and pay for. Josh Schertz has said, it's good to target maybe 6 quad 1, quad 2 non-conference games, and right now it looks like they've got probably 7. Probably going to be filling it out with, I think they can play 1 extra non-conference game this season. But I think they've got to get to at least 19 home games, which is what they always do. So they've got a lot of bye games to throw in there. I guess it's possible maybe you get 1 more decent mid-major, but what they've done so far is pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. Stu Durando with us here on Gray Bar Sports Open Line. He covers the Billikens for Stu on SLU on Substack. You can also get him on Twitter at Stu Durando. Stu, quickly before we let you go, for folks who maybe are not off-season bloodhounds for this Billikens news and haven't been locked into everything on the portal and whatever, and find the portal maybe a little overwhelming and say, I'll just check back in October or November once everybody's actually decided what uniform they're going to wear this year. If you were kind of giving the quick elevator pitch summary of where the Billikens roster is right now in relation to last year, what do you think are the most important things for people to know?
Got significant experience and talent that succeeded last season in the backcourt and on the perimeter. Incredibly strong there. They're rebuilding inside with young talent that needs some time to go through practices. And I think the exhibition games that we know about against Nebraska and Bradley will be critical for those young players who are going to play key roles up front, and they'll probably add maybe 1 more exhibition game. So I think those are going to be really important in getting the team ready because, playing a team like Mizzou in your second game, if that's the way it ends up, that's a pretty big ask. You usually don't play a team like that until maybe the 4th or 5th game. So it's very, very highly thought of group of returning players. They did incredible job at retention, which is really hard to do these days. Kept 9 guys, and then now they just have to build around them with the big inside players who have huge upside.
Yeah, you mentioned that how early the meeting is between Missouri and St. Louis, which is interesting for both teams, especially because Mizzou is expecting to have a very, very talented team, but one that's going to rely a bit more than is typical in the modern era on freshmen and some highly touted freshmen led by Jason Crow. There's been a lot of turnover to that roster, as there is a lot of rosters, but that group is going to have to come together quickly because there's going to be a lot of pressure on them in that game. There's going to be pressure on St. Louis because the Billikens fans in particular have been really hunting that game to play well and be competitive. But for Mizzou, obviously, the dynamic is what we always talk about, which is that they're going to feel in some ways there's more downside to them in losing than there is upside in winning. I don't think that's actually true in terms of the net ranking, but in terms of the PR battle, it might be true.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be huge hype around that game, and both teams, as with so many teams around the country who rebuild every year, some need more time than others to get ready to really get into the meat of their schedule. So, both of them will probably play on Monday of that week, and then they would play each other on Friday a few days later. That's pretty quick getting into a potential top 25 matchup.
Is the expectation, you mentioned those exhibitions, is the expectation that the home exhibition games these next couple of years that they're going to play against Division I opponents will be open to the public or no?
Yeah, for the most part. They played at Bradley last year, and that was open up in Peoria, so the assumption is that that'll be open here. When they played Iowa last year, my understanding is that SLU wanted that to be an open game. Iowa did not, so they played it as one of the old-time secret scrimmages. But I would imagine unless one coach just really didn't want to be playing in front of the public, that's what we're going to get from here on out. And it's I think it's good for the programs, and it's just prep time. Nobody should be too concerned about what people think of them coming out of those games, so they should all be open.
Well, I'll tell you what, it worked out for the at Stu Durando brand that Iowa game was a secret scrimmage last year, because that got about as much love as any Stu tweet. That got a ton of attention.
I know. It was just like, what was it? Probably about 8 words or something. And yeah, it kind of caught fire. In fact, when Iowa was winning in the NCAA tournament this year, that kind of picked up again and started getting attention. So, yeah, it's funny. You never know what's going to get attention on Twitter.
No, you never do. Well, we appreciate you, Stu. Have a great night. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Stu Durando. You can follow his Substacks, Stu on Slew, and you can also follow him on Twitter at Stu Durando. You know, I wasn't necessarily planning on going this route, but just having that conversation really quickly toward the end with Stu about the difference between the upside and downside of a Mizzou-SLU matchup in the PR world versus in the actual net ranking world and the NCAA tournament resume world, I think is a conversation worth having. So we're going to have it after the break, both that game in particular and some of what I'm observing across the college sports landscape, football, basketball, the way fan bases talk about these games. That's coming up after this.
All Access with Ollie Marble on the Gas House Gang.
I show up every day looking forward to what's next for this group. This group fits my personality to a T. I love what we're doing. I love how we're going about it. I love the honest conversations. I love the grit. And there's been certain times where I've caught myself where bases are loaded, our back's up against the wall, and I can't help but smile. I show up every day looking forward to what's next for this group.
Ollie Marble, Tuesdays at noon on KMOX.
Hey Missouri, it's game time. Start betting like a pro with the world's largest sportsbook at your fingertips. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I'm a lifelong sports bettor and I'm the owner of Circus Sports. It's sports betting the way it should be, with high limits, player-friendly pricing, exceptional customer service, and more. Download your new bookie at circusports.com. The action starts now, Missouri. Experience the difference with Circus Sports. Bet like a pro.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Giddy up! It's the Cardinal Cowboy. Is your garage door past its prime? Get a free repair or replacement quote from Renner Garage Door. Renner is America's oldest family-owned garage door company that serves both wholesale and retail markets. Right now, get $100 off a new garage door when you mention this ad. With trusted brands like Delden, Amar, LiftMaster, you know it's built to win. Renner's also hiring experienced techs and installers. RennerDoorSTL.com. Forward and back.
RENNER, RENNER. This is Megan Lynch for Ophthalmology Associates. Do you worry about going to see someone about your eyesight because you're stressed about the tests that they might run, and more specifically, the equipment that they might use? Ophthalmology Associates has the latest technology to see inside your eyes and detect issues without discomfort, and they have a great staff that guides you through the entire process. Call 314-966-5000 or go to youridoc.com. You can see the doctors of Ophthalmology Associates, Doctors Greg Birdie, that's who I see, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. From issues like dry eye to conditions such as cataracts and glaucoma, the doctors of Ophthalmology Associates will guide you through your diagnosis and your treatment options. For more information, call Ophthalmology Associates, 314-966-5000. That's 314-966-5000. Or go to youridoc.com.
If you suffer from burning, tingling, or numb feet, pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Patton, D.C. Doctor, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is nerve damage to the feet and legs.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
It's absolutely treatable, and we have amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, coldness in your feet or hands or balance issues, call us at Comprehensive Integrated Health today for a nerve damage screening. The screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our cutting-edge treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 636-355-8662. 636-355-8662 for your free nerve damage screening. 636-355-8662.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Nate Gatter back with you in for Matt Pauley. Gray Bar Sports Open Line continues. I promised you a conversation about that Missouri-St. Louis basketball meeting that's been agreed to be played at Enterprise Center in November and how that fits into this larger conversation to be had about college sports scheduling, particularly under the microscope in basketball, but I think maybe more interesting or as interesting, I should say, in football as well. Before we do that, should pass along a little bit of Cardinals breaking news in the last 45 minutes or so, which is that Cardinals outfielder Nathan Church, who was scratched from the lineup for today's day game, a loss to the Pirates at Busch Stadium, is headed to the injured list. He will be replaced on the 26-man roster by Brian Torres, who's being called up for the first time to the major leagues. He has hit the ball very, very well, Torres has. In Memphis, the last couple of years, he's played 140 AAA games with the Cardinals over the last 2 years. His OPS is over 900 in that span. His on-base percentage is in the neighborhood of 450 combined. 441 last year in 104 AAA games, 454 in 36 games this year. So certainly reasons to be excited about him, though you wouldn't necessarily call him a prospect. He will be 29 years old on July 2nd. He has been playing professional baseball going back to 2015 in the Brewers organization. He spent time in the Giants organization as well, in independent baseball for a couple of years in the American Association in 2022 and 2023. And now with the Cardinals starting in Springfield in 24, Memphis the last couple of years. He also appeared in 4 games of the World Baseball Classic for Puerto Rico and was quite successful. He was 3 for 6 with a double and added 3 walks in the World Baseball Classic, reached base in 6 out of his 10 plate appearances in total, an OPS of 1,100, obviously in a very, very small sample size. No matter what happens, though, very cool for a guy who has been playing professional baseball in some form or fashion for over a decade, parts of 12 different seasons, including a couple of years of independent baseball in his mid-20s, to be getting a chance to play in the big leagues. That is awesome. I am really excited. I tell you what, this is getting sidetracked. I'm going to get to the conversation that I said I was going to. If you're somebody who watches a lot of sports, especially who watches a lot of sports in person, I am of the belief, maybe anytime it's something other than your favorite team and your goal is to see your favorite team win. If you watch a lot of sports in person as a neutral party, as I do, what you really want to see when you go to the ballpark or the stadium or the arena is something you haven't seen before. That's the holy grail is something that happens very, very rarely. To me, the holy grail as a baseball fan would be to go and see a perfect game. Right, see a no-hitter. Perfect game's a lot more rare than a no-hitter, but a no-hitter is still very rare. See a guy hit 4 homers, something like that, right? Hit for a cycle, pretty rare too. Cool stuff like that. Something fun and unusual. That's what's really, really fun. And on that note, it's not unique that a guy debuts, but it's rare. Very few guys have played Major League Baseball ever in the recorded history of the sport. Until recently, the last few years, you could fit every single one of them inside Madison Square Garden. Every single guy who's ever played in a Major League game. Shockingly rare. A huge accomplishment, no matter what comes after it. Appearing in a Major League game is just an incredible thing to do. And I think it's so special to get to be there when somebody accomplishes that. Think about this guy who's been going for almost 29 years. The vast majority of that time, going back to when he was a young child, has been devoted to accomplishing this dream. Think about everything that he has done, everything he has sacrificed to get to this point. Think about everything that people around him have done and sacrificed. Everything that his family and friends and teammates and coaches have poured into making this happen. And think about how hard it probably was when he was in his mid-20s and had washed out of affiliated baseball and was a Milwaukee milkman in the American Association for a couple of years. Now, I'm not taking anything away from that. I spent time in independent baseball. That's a very high level of play that's happening in the American Association relative to baseball happening globally, right? That's very solid baseball players who are professional athletes in that league. But it's a long way. It's a long way from Milwaukee, in this case, Milwaukee of the American Association, not so much the Milwaukee Brewers, from the American Association to the show. It's a long way. And there was probably a lot of self-doubt for him at that time. There was probably a lot of frustration for him at that time. It would have been easy for him to give up. And here he is, almost 29 years old. By many metrics, a young man. By baseball metrics, not one. And he's going to get a chance, we would imagine, to play in a major league game at some point. And that is an accomplishment that nobody will ever be able to take away from him. And I'm really excited to see that. And, hopefully the fans in Cincinnati, if that is where he makes his debut, give him his due and give him a hand. I love when PA announcers anywhere, and John Hewlett almost always does this at Busch Stadium, announce, even if it's a visiting player, when it's their major league debut, because I want to cheer for all of those guys. I could not be more thrilled. And even more so when it's a guy who's not a top prospect. I love seeing a top prospect debut. There's an energy in the ballpark. It's great. But there is nothing better than getting to see somebody who's had to put all of that in get the reward for it at the end, because they've had to do all that work with no guarantee that the big leagues were going to be waiting at the end of it, and he's getting to do that. All right, that was a long sidetrack, but now I want to get to something else. That was my feel-good part of the segment. Now I'm going to do my complaining part of the segment, which is that along those lines, it's actually not a bad segue, because we've forgotten what sports are supposed to really be about. I have a unique perspective, I suppose, on the Missouri-St. Louis matchup, being a Missouri graduate who grew up going to St. Louis Billikens games, grew up in the Rick Majerus era, and who now has season tickets to the Bills. I am firmly a supporter of both institutions and both basketball programs. I recognize that is not true of everyone. So maybe I just see too much of both sides here. But I cannot stand the Missouri fans whose reaction to this is, why are we even bothering playing them? What do we get out of this? The downside's too big. The upside's too small. Well, at the very least, they better be coming to play us, and there's no way we should be going to play a road game. It should be a neutral or two and then a home game for us so that we can flex our muscles at how we're the bigger school or the bigger program or whatever. Who cares? Who could possibly care about that? Why are we acting like games or championships or anything are won in contract negotiations, in boardrooms by guys with suits, drawing up contracts between schools to play? Games are won, championships are won, bragging rights are won on the field, on the court. It's supposed to be fun. What do you mean, what are you getting out of it? You get to go watch your favorite team play a regional rival, the place that your buddy went to school. You get to sit next to him and give each other a hard time. You get to experience the joy of competitive sport, of passion unfolding in front of you. Would you rather that Mizzou and SLU both play separate home games against schools that you've never heard of with a net ranking of like 327? Because that's pretty much what they were doing last year. And nobody was having a lot of fun with that. And if you really want to, and I'm not taking anything away from those schools, right? They're Division I, too. But if you really want to, we could do that. And they're not even all Division I, right? St. Louis could be playing Principia. They've done some of that. And it takes nothing away from Principia, but those games are pointless. Nobody's entertained by that game. It serves no purpose to the fan. We should all want to get rid of those and replace them with better games. It's great that Mizzou plays some of those types of games. I understand the schedule can't be one banger after another. But all fans should want this. This should be true in football, in men's basketball, in any sport. We should want schools to play good games and to play games against regional rivals. It should not be about who's the big brother and who's the little brother. If you're the big brother, great. Go beat them all the time. Go beat them. If Mizzou's that good and they're too good to play SLU, they should go beat them 3 times in a row. They probably won't. And, that's the thing that really is the most alarming about it, is people are focused all on the PR element of it and not on what's going to happen on the court, because the upside and the downside are pretty even for Missouri in terms of basketball. St. Louis projects to be a top 50, 60 net team, if not better, and you're playing them on a neutral site. That's almost certainly going to be at least a quad 2 game. There's a pretty good chance it could be a quad 1 game for Mizzou when it's all said and done. So what am I supposed to be hearing about how the downside is so much worse than the upside? The numbers are the numbers. I mean, you can play a million quad 4 games if you really want. But the numbers say that the game is going to be perfectly solid for both teams. It's going to present an opportunity for both. It's going to have downside risk for both, like every other time you lace them up. And we should want that. We should be encouraging that. I have no interest in being the kind of fan who's trying to protect my school's reputation or win games in the boardroom or win power struggles in contract negotiations. Let's just play the sport. That's supposed to be the point of it. That's what's fun about it. If Mizzou and SLU never played each other, that would just be boring. You could go and play pointless matchups against schools you don't care about, and no one would love college sports. It's part of what it's supposed to be about. So let's embrace it, and let's just have fun with it. And I think it's going to be a really, really compelling night of basketball and a great spotlight for the city and the state, and that's ultimately what we're trying to create here. Wrap it up when we get back.
Bringing a data center online takes more than equipment. It takes precision. Graybar helps customers predict, stage, schedule, deliver, and verify every step of the build with critical products that are available now. From networking and wireless to critical power and testing tools, our teams help you reduce downtime risk and keep projects on track. Speed, scale, ready now. Yep. Graybar does that.
Taking care of your health shouldn't feel complicated. That's why we created NeoVitan to make nutrition easy. Our doctor-formulated vitamins are designed for real life and delivered straight to your door with our monthly subscription. No guesswork, no running out. Just clean, high-quality supplements manufactured in the USA using the finest domestic and international ingredients. Subscribe today at neovitan.com and take one simple step toward better daily nutrition. Visit neovitan.com and start making nutrition easy today.
Don't miss the final home game of the season. Your St. Louis Battlehawks take on the Dallas Renegades Friday, May 29th at 7 p.m. at the Dome. It's Battlehawks Kids Day. Plus, fans can score an Archie bobblehead while supplies last. Tickets start at just $18 at UFLBattlehawks.com. Caw-caw.
St. Louis, are you ready to go Hardy?
I woke up on the wrong side of the truck bed.
The country rock hitmaker behind Truck Bed. Wait in the truck and one beer. He's bringing his no-holds-barred live show to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater June 5th. With special guests Cameron Whitcomb and McCoy Moore. Hardy, live, loud, and unapologetic. One night only. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
Get the last roof you'll ever need with steel roofing from Menards. Steel roofing provides your home with the best protection from wind, hail, and fire. Choose from 29 stylish colors to enhance the appearance of your home. Available in cut-to-length panels that cover a large area quickly for fast installation. Plus, shop the weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Your 401k, 403b, and IRA, it's a future tax time bomb. I'll help you retire younger, richer, and with less anxiety. Let's avoid all those taxes on your IRA or 401k. Get your retirement questions answered. Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg, Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX FM 104.1. And then see your tax time bomb at checkwithgary.com.
When challenges show up in our community, united we help. We help families put food on the table. We help children learn, grow, and feel safe. We help neighbors through crises and everyday challenges. Across our region, United Way brings people together, supporting local nonprofits, and helping over 1 million neighbors each year. Unite with us at helpingpeople.org.
I'm Dan Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, millions of people called us for representation. Why? Because trust grows when you win, and we've won a lot. Over $30 billion and counting. When you call America's largest injury law firm, you're calling a family. You're calling an army, our army. You're calling somebody who will fight for you. Injured? Let our family fight for your family. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Hey, Missouri, it's game time. Start betting like a pro with the world's largest sportsbook at your fingertips. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I'm a lifelong sports bettor, and I'm the owner of Circus Sports. It's sports betting the way it should be, with high limits, player-friendly pricing, exceptional customer service, and more. Download your new bookie at circusports.com. The action starts now, Missouri. Experience the difference with Circus Sports. Bet like a pro.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Wrapping up Gray Bar Sports Open Line on this Thursday evening. Nate Gatter in for Matt Pauley, who will be, I suppose, back with you for Cardinals pregame, 4:45. Gray Bar will have you. We'll have you on the Cardinals Radio Network, powered by Gray Bar. 4:45 tomorrow. 5:40 Central Time will be first pitch for the Cardinals and the Reds in the series opener. I was going to say he'll be back with you for Gray Bar Sports Open Line, but I guess that won't be until Memorial Day that we'll have our next edition of Gray Bar Sports Open Line when the Cardinals play during the day on that Memorial Day series opener against the Brewers. If you missed any of our conversation about the Cardinals, about the Billikens, about St. Louis City SC, you can go back and hear it all on the free Odyssey app, AUDACY, and get all of our shows in podcast form. And we hope you'll join us again for a little Cardinals action, 4:45 tomorrow, Gray Bar Cardinals Radio Network pregame show. And you can hear all of that on the free Odyssey app as well. Been a fun evening hanging out with you. We'll do it again sometime soon. Cardinals with those back-to-back losses and trying to get things right again going to the Reds tomorrow, and St. Louis City SC, as we discussed, playing on Saturday over on Y98 against Austin at Energizer Park, trying to maintain the momentum of this month going into the World Cup break. All of that to come over a busy sports weekend around St. Louis. For producer Kyle Sixton, Nate Gatter saying good evening for all of us here, the voice of St. Louis KMOX. This has been the Gray Bar Sports Open Line.
Ready or not, summer is coming, and Wayfair's